symphonies of your heartbeat. Forgot to look beyond, I see the other side. So give me a light, show me what I need. I know I'm blind, but I hear symphonies of your heartbeat. Now that's an understatement. To walk alone, I guess it's my repayment. Please give me a light, show me what I need. I know I'm blind, but I hear symphonies of your heartbeat.
Just another sunny day in Southern California. It's where the people came to play. Don't let them transform you. Come and see what you've been missing on a little slice of heaven. It's the only place we're living. It's
ladies and gentlemen. Today, we are back again with a couple of bangers. We continue to tell the tale of the lower bracket run. But before any further, me and CCV would like to also mention the fact that this is going to be the lower bracket, right? There is the slim chance that you are going to make it out of it. And if you don't, well, then so be it. This is where you stop your journey in the Zotac Cup. And a huge shout out to our sponsors to make this tournament possible. NVIDIA for all the amazing graphic cards. LG Ultragear if you want to hit those nasty flicks that you see on the stream. Crucial and Corsair for having both your SSD, your memory, and all your peripheral needs covered. Today is going to be exciting. How do you feel about the CCV?
Looking at the matchups, looking at the teams, considering the fact that it's not only going to be inter countries but inter regions colliding for a chance to stay in the tournament, like you mentioned, losers brackets, I think that just brings a whole new atmosphere to the matchup in front of us. So let's have a look at the matchup in front of us right now. At the moment, the teams that will be facing off against each other, it's going to be Velocity Gaming from India up against Fullsense from Thailand. And yet again, both of these rosters, they have found major success in their home countries. Both of these teams are regarded as one of the best teams in their region, absolutely for sure, in the top two for their own countries as well. So with all that being said and done, these two behemoths will be facing off against each other. The only thing here is, OG, it is going to be in the lower bracket. So one of these teams, they will be facing goodbye. And now, speaking of the brackets as well, let's have a look at the entire brackets. Let's see which teams are moving on, which teams are still in contention for the upper brackets, and which teams have been eliminated as well. We started off with the upper brackets, and Kingsman, Enigma Gaming, Action PH, VLT, all these teams, they took the win initially. Moving down to the lower brackets, we had our first two losses, and unfortunately for Team Exploit and Reckoning, both of those teams went out. So you had one team from India and the only team from Pakistan getting eliminated, but still they had a great run. Making it into the Zotac Cup after the open qualifiers is a big feat in of itself.
Yeah.
Now, today are two lower bracket matches, which is going to be Velocity and Fullsense, followed up by EG versus NGX. Those are also going to be very, very, like on the edge games, because of seeing how these teams have already played and considering the stakes right now, considering the fact that two of these teams will have to bid farewell, all to play for at the moment.
Exactly. Enigma Gaming and Velocity Gaming both had a very strong fight to put up in this upper bracket, right? They fought their
Right.
hearts out. Enigma Gaming had a very emotional map one where they were
Mm-hmm.
able to make a miraculous play in overtime, and they were able to claw their way out in map one. Sure, the other two maps really didn't go in their favor, although they did come dangerously close in the second one. And the likewise could be said about VLT. They were pulling off plays themselves. I feel like in the map of Bind, the draft really kind of hampered their ability to find success. The way it
Mm-hmm.
was played by Action PH was so smart. The way they drafted around buying time, the way they drafted around that is just brilliant. And you know what? Let's quickly take a look at those members who have been performing exceptionally as we head to the top four MVPs of the tournament. It's expected to be just the Jets in my eyes. Are we going to see it? Yeah, it's going to
Oh,
get
there it
genuine,
is.
CCB.
It will, it will. Number one, we have Zesbu, and who has been like fragging really well. Then you've got Deathmaker, you've got Raw Fuel, you've got Georgie with 200 kills, mind you. I didn't even notice this. I think after yesterday's match, Georgie hitting 200 already, and with Action PH looking so strong, being in the upper bracket finals, with Action PH looking like a team that may just end up in the grand finals, I think Georgie will absolutely break all records. And in my eyes, he may reach the 300 mark as well in terms of his skills with how he has been performing. But still, the other three members, having a look at their average combat score, having a look at how many times they've been the MVPs, Zesbu absolutely deserves to be on top. And then Deathmaker, Raw Fuel following him up. It's really interesting. And the fact that today we get to see the side of, Raw Fuel up against Zesbu is going to be pretty interesting. As of now, for our first best of three, we will have the Deathmaker show right in front of us as well.
Yeah, we will. It's gonna be interesting to follow the journey of Deathmaker and Zesbu today. It's gonna be
Mm-hmm.
the head-to-head potentially that we might get to see later on in the bracket, right? That's gonna be very
Right.
fun. We might get to see the MVP battle go straight up on the server, man. Imagine just dueling it on the server for the perfect graphic card that you want.
Exactly. If anyone is unaware, Nvidia are kind enough to give a 3060 RTX 3060 to the MVP of the entire Zotac Cup, the person with the best performance overall. And so far, these four lads and many more have been fighting for contention. So as of now, Zesbu, if he can keep his journey up, if Nigma Galaxy take the win against EG today, he may just be the one taking, that graphics card all for himself. But we'll be taking a look at these rosters as well. Not Enigma Gaming and Enigma Galaxy. That's for later right now. Right now, the talk of the town, well, it's going to be the teams in front of us. It's going to be the teams we discussed about. It's going to be Velocity up against Fullsense. So having a look at the Velocity roster, I mean, we know this roster very well. They've got plenty of members. They can switch out members whenever they want as well. But for now, I think yet again, they may be playing the same core lineup that they had. I think even yesterday, if I'm not wrong, OG, you were casting that much. You will be able to shed more light onto it. But I think even yesterday, MW1 and Vibho weren't playing, and it was the five gentlemen in the center of our screens that were the roster for VLT.
Yeah, and it continues to be the same. So there was Marzel, Deathmaker, Amaterasu, Right to Ace, and Hellfighter on the server. You
Yeah.
got to see a lot of influential plays being made by Right to Ace, Amaterasu, Deathmaker, especially on Breeze. Man, popped the hell off. I think 35 frags at the end of the game. So
Mm-hmm.
that is like big MVP level performance. And let's quickly take a look at Full Sense as well, because they have been no dimmer. When they cast the light, the shadows are even darker. Yeah, they look as motivated, but PTC in between looks like he's staring at you with an intimate stare at death.
Images. I mean, as a matter of fact, all five of these members, they have not only the stare, but the capabilities to just get rid of you, dispose you as soon as the round begins. Lamy Snacks and, him either playing the Sova, to an extent, even the Rays. That's what interests me. And that's always, I think I've said this before about the Full Sense lineup, is that the versatility that these members have, it's really, really good. But now there are a couple of members that don't have a lot of versatility. However, the agents that they main, they absolutely dominate. Let's have a look at the head-to-head between the two best performing members of both of these rosters, of both Full Sense and Velocity. And now, yep, like I said, it's going to be Right to Ace and Lamy Snacks. Like, having a look at these two players, like, look at the statistics, OG. They are near similar, 1.28 KD, 1.28 KD. Average damage, sure, it's going to be Full Sense with having a bit of advantage. But then again, if you're looking at numbers this close, like 30 damage overall, I would say on paper, these two are just pretty much equal. However, it's in the server using the utility, getting information that I'm really, really interested about and that I really, really want to have a look at as to which exact one of these members will take an advantage not only for themselves but rather for their own team, seeing as they play similar roles.
At this level at the game, both VLT and Full Sense are more or less on par when it comes to how they use the utility, how they
Right.
are equivalent in
Mm-hmm.
all mechanical senses. It's just
Right.
experience that has a deficit in between the two, right? You can give the benefit of the doubt to VLT, but you have to agree with Full Sense having somewhat of an advantage when it comes to having more of a calm nerve in maybe more of a hectic situation. So VLT, we're gonna start things off with Icebox. So yeah, I can't wait for the map veto. And I feel like with the map veto, this is gonna be the more interesting best of three that I might get to cast today. It's gonna be Icebox to start things off. I've been itching to see an Icebox, my friend. One of my favorite maps. Then we have Bind,
Mm-hmm.
a map which we saw VLT struggle yesterday, but they were in a position where the draft was heavily against them. Now that could change. And again, it's a different day. It's a different squad they're playing against. So it's a different circumstance. You can't count this kind of a team out. And again, Haven, it's a map where VLT did not find the most success in,
Yeah.
slightly favoring this draft to Full Sense, but also benefit of the doubt to VLT. It could be a different case if they're
I
able to edge out Icebox. I feel like Bind is going to be a real nail biter.
I think we may just see Haven. I think I agree with you. You know, the teams that have picked the maps will be taking their wins. On Haven, already I can think there's one interesting scenario for me to consider. It's that the side of Full Sense, they don't always go for the meta composition on the map of Haven. From what we have seen from the side of Full Sense so far, they opt for the double duelist on that map, contrary to what teams usually pick, such as even Velocity. You know, we have been seeing a lot of double initiative from their side. Amaterasu to an extent has been picking the breach up as well. But Full Sense, more specifically Love Family, he goes for the jet as he always does, and John Olsen plenty of times prefers the Rena on this map. So keeping in mind that Full Sense go for something more for double duelist, meanwhile Velocity prefer a double initiator, and then Marzel will be on the Killjoy, something along the lines of that. I
Yeah.
think that gives us enough room to theorize and to, you know, just think about what may happen on Haven. Because like you did mention, I have to agree with you, Velocity, Haven wasn't their best map, but at the same time, because of this major compositional change that I predict will happen most likely, like my rational opinion says it will happen because we've seen it happen time and time again from both of the rosters, that gives VLT and to an extent even Full Sense a different area to work with, like a different margin to play with essentially, because it's not going to be same comps, it's not going to be mirror agent compositions as well, with there being two totally different playstyles and two totally different archetype compositions. I think teams can work their way around and try to edge out a win in a not so usual kind of manner. However, I think we've been talking enough about Haven. That's map number 3. As of now, we aren't even sure if we are going to see a map number 3. As of now, we still have to talk about Icebox and then followed up by Bind. Once those two are over and the teams are still level at 1-1, then we can start talking more and, you know, absolutely go in depth about Haven and how those rosters will play there. But on Icebox, OG, you have seen Velocity play. You know, I mean, I know you like this map. Everyone knows that now. What do you think? I'm going to stay on the same topic. In terms of compositions, do you think it's going to be a similar comp, or is it going to lend into, I don't know, maybe a double sentinel, double duelist? So many considerations.
On the back of my mind, I feel like this has to be a map where Velocity give Deathmaker his jet, a map where long range angles are easily punishable with him and this operator. We've already seen him
Yeah.
perform miracles with it here at the Zotac Cup, right? So that's for sure. Right Ways is going to go for the Sova. There is going to be a debate on who's going to play the Viper. We've seen Amaterasu pick up the Viper. Hellfighter might just feel that Astra, and you don't really need that Astra as well once you have the Viper
Yeah.
on Icebox, right? Maybe
Icebox.
that's just for an added bonus. We also could get the chance to see that double initiator combo workout on the side of VLT. But
Mhm.
all this can be theory. Let's head to the actual meat and actual thick of it, ladies and gentlemen. We're heading into the draft. Deathmaker? Okay, he hovered over the jet, got my hopes up, saying that I'm right. But now going on to the Rana. I mean, you can still run that operator on the Rana. The only difference being is you don't have an assured means of falling back. You need to get that frag
Yeah.
if you need to get that orb. And
Even,
again, Deathmaker doesn't need to run that orb to be lethal, right? This man can
yeah.
run a darn sheriff and he'll be as potent.
True. And right now, like I said, Amaterasu, you know, there was a time where Velocity went for like double sentinel plays on Icebox. This was back when Vibho was in the lineup and back when Amaterasu used to always also play. So Vibho used to pick the KJ, Amaterasu on the Sage. We are seeing that to an extent. Health will be on the Viper, no problems with that. The same with Right to Ace. Pretty interesting. I thought Marzel would be replacing Vibho in terms of the archetype, kind of like what he did on the map of Haven with him picking the KJ. But no, it's going to be double dive duelist for the members of Velocity. As for the fact of Full Sense, they have also gone for double duelist. However, John Olsen, he's
Select
not
your
on the Raze,
agent.
he's on the Reyna. Other than that, Raze versus Reyna, with that difference being there, it's practically a mirror composition. We are seeing the Sovas, we are seeing Lamy Snacks right to Ace, we are going to be seeing Love Family on the Viper alongside Health, and it's going to be PTC in the server known as Onliner who'll be on the jet. So quite interesting. I mean, I did briefly mention this, OG, that the versatility in the lineup of Full Sense, the members can play so many different agents. This is a great example of that. We have
Yeah.
seen online go for this play. We've seen Love Family, who loves to play the Jet. So many times we've seen him on the map of Haven and even other maps take up that agent. Now, as a controller on the Viper, Velocity aren't opting for that. Velocity are sticking to the agents they know very well. Of course, some members in Velocity are far more comfortable and far more versatile with other agents. For example, Amaterasu is there, who is now picking the Sage as a Sentinel. Earlier, we saw him play the Viper, even the Breach. He plays a lot. Marzel as well can play a lot. But then there are other members who are sticking to the core, and Velocity are going to make sure that their tried and tested strategies on this map work out in their favor.
Yeah, essentially the difference I see with this draft is the fact that the side of Fullsense, they have that extra flash added for the entry. And, talking about the entry, let's enter into the game, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, so continuing what I'm going to say, the side of VLT have more dive potential with this Race Jet combo. So although they might be lacking a flash, they might not be lacking in terms of flashy plays. Now, with the hit towards the A side, I think the side of Fullsense are going to realize it's a commitment as they're going to push B main. This, however, needs to be a quicker hit from VLT. Their jig is soon going to be up. Onliner did commit that tailwind, so now this aggressive stance might just be his last if he's not able to confirm to and fall back thereafter. And Love Fam, oh, the perfect timing. The fine Hellfighter, Nap, and Deathmaker, though, a crucial pick-off. It weakens the A-side defense, and it opens up the possibility for them to rotate back. Knowing that John Olsen can't hold that angle as potently as he might have wanted to, if it was a 5 versus 4, they need to play this one a little conservatively, and that's what VLT would like to take advantage of.
They certainly would. And Velocity, they need any advantage right now because in terms of map control, Velocity don't really have much. Amaterasu is right here still on the brink of the A bomb side with the spike, mind you. So Velocity, they're making Fullsense think it's going to be a rotate play. However, they're giving no information to Fullsense by playing behind the scenes. This makes Fullsense go for a split play gamble. However, Chala right now, we can see he has spotted Deathmaker. We saw him giving comms on his cam as well. So obviously rotations are going to be happening very soon. Considering there are only 20 seconds remaining, Velocity have to stick with it. However, Chala, he disposes Marzel pretty quickly, and now Velocity are down to 3 members. Make that 2 as Amaterasu also falls right to his, holding a pretty aggressive angle. He's got the crossfire set up. However, this recon bolt, it delays his crosshair just a bit more. It goes the shock dart, and now the flurry comes in of the members of Fullsense. However, right to his Deathmaker, they were doing good until Deathmaker fell, and right to his HP went down to 31. He can still do plenty of work. That's another headshot. Right click is all Chala needs. 83 HP. That's a double right click, that's a triple kill, and that's the first for Fullsense. Great retake right there. Props to Velocity for making Fullsense think that it could have been an execute on either one of the bomb sites right until the very last moment. However, Fullsense, because of the man advantage, because of the fact that they had that 4 versus 2 setup, they could just, easily, even if they got rid of a couple of members, even if a couple of their members died, they still won the round nonetheless. It was a very close call because the teams played so closely to each other and of same caliber pretty much. However, Fullsense towards the end, they ended up taking the win.
They do. And the one part about Icebox is you really need to get that W in the pistol as the attacker. When you allow the other Jet to get as close to the operator as he wants, that's when things are going to get a little more difficult with you, where you need to start picking and choosing your engagements even more wisely. Well, I talk about picking and choosing your engagements wisely. Deathmaker, he says the same to Love Fam. He sends nothing but love, fam. 4v5 and this push is right where he's going to be discovered. That's going to be the key factor. Oh god, he's been overlooked. Oh, Onliner. That was almost giving him a bit of hope. Well, they get the plant here, VLT.
Yeah. I'd say that, again, in an eco round, the fact that he got a plant and 1 kill, for now, 1 kill onto the members of Fullsense, that's really good. More so, Velocity are just wasting time. And now Fullsense, they're going to be swinging wide. This is their core retake strategy. Just overwhelm your opponents with flashes, with utility. The recon ball goes through the Sage walls there, Marzel. He's got to get a kill. He does. And now Deathmaker, brilliant headshot. He's looking for another. Amaterasu finishes things off. And now Chala all by himself. His Spectre sings. And now the half defuse is there. He's going to heal himself. No time to reload. Only time to defuse. And Velocity, they'll be taking this thrifty win right now. So Fullsense, I mean, yeah, they tried. It was a good initiation for a retake. However, because of the fact that Deathmaker had that Marshall right there, Deathmaker did such an important job getting rid of both of those Reyna Lears from John Olsen. Using that Marshall, that allowed the rest of the teammates of Velocity to just hold their angles and not use any bullets from them, not fire any bullets from their pistols. I think that to me was an important play. And then on top of that, the cherry on top of the cake was Deathmaker got another kill, another headshot with the Marshall, and great stuff right there. Marzel as well from the yellow containers box, and finally you had the play from Health. So all over, great post plan from Velocity, shows that even with lesser guns they can do more work. However, now that they have better guns, they have the better gun disparity against their opposition. What can they do since they are looking to execute on A pretty heavily?
They are. A lot of utility being committed to this dump, and now with the double satchel, with the tailwind, they should be able to get that initial frag, although Lammy Snacks puts an end to Marcel's aggression. The rest of VLT play this one relatively slower on the back of that Sage wall. They're going to be able to commit to that plant.
Spike planted.
Onliner, he's the closest one on the defense to the offense, and Sean, that could have been a connection through the wall. It looked very close. Onliner gets dealt with though by Amaterasu. The Vandal, it sprays away at range. Lammy Snacks trying to do as much as he can from this raptor position, as he has an angle on Deathmaker. And Deathmaker, mind you, is somewhat of an important piece of this puzzle. Lammy Snacks removes him, and if Right Ways is out, there is essentially no way Hellfighter could fight against this. It ain't planted for him. And another Thrifty. This is gonna be nail-biting.
The way in which these teams have been playing, Thrifty after Thrifty, retakes after post plans after whatnot, I mean, you can never really know for sure what's going to happen in a round right up until either the spike gets blasted or it gets diffused. And that to me is the best factor. And that too, I think everyone watching, like you said, nail biting, absolutely entertaining, not knowing, and having that uncertainty. But as for all of us as audience members, as casters, it is very, very entertaining. For the players, the pressure surmounting is even higher, because again, you never really know what's going to happen. As oh hell, he just walks into the crosses, and John Olsen, he gets a double now with the Leo. He goes through. I think everyone in Fullsense knows about Marzel's location. The Leo will go through. Marzel still holding the angle. Great headshot with the Sheriff right there. And I think the resurrection is in place from the side. Yep, Shala will be going for the resurrection. No. He'll survive. 69 HP. That's the third kill. He'll be healed. Amaterasu in the meanwhile gets one, and this time the resurrection can't happen. Velocity on their own Thrifty yet again will be planting the spike, but I do not think, OG, that this 2v4, especially with the Reyna on Empress, will be manageable by the members of Velocity.
Yeah, and this is the kind of round where you would not want to commit your ultimates, right? So they're not going to use that Hunter's Fury. They're not going to use that Resurrection unless they're able to thin out the numbers and even out the odds. The Recon, not going to be destroyed quick enough. There's enough room for Fullsense to full send. Chalalala steals the ace. Now, I want to see if there's a fist bump after that. I'm pretty sure there ain't going to be.
I think it'll be after the match, probably. Fullsense win. I think by that it'll be enough time that for that John Olsen might have forgotten about that stolen ace. But regardless, whatever happened, the side of Velocity. Well, they really, after this loss as well, this is the round that they have to win, because considering overall Velocity aren't down that much, they're only down 2 rounds. However, with the spikes getting planted and stuff, I think Velocity, they have a good execute in mind. They can execute into the bomb site. However, they've got to realize that they need good post plant positions and enough resources, enough utility to last them the post plant as well, kind of like what they did in their Thrifty round, where it wasn't mostly about the utility, it was more about the positioning that helped VLT secure the win. Now, it's a full buy versus full buy, and that's why I'm saying Velocity have to win this, because if they lose this one as well, they'll be forced back onto pistols and just, Spectres and Ares and stuff. It won't be a pretty buy, as Marzel right now pushing through the bomb side. Can't get on top. The boxes right here. Deathmaker clearing out angles one by one. The spike's gonna go down, and yet again, Velocity force the opposition into a retake. John Olsen, though, with this peak, it can be big.
Yeah, if you would have taken that maybe a few seconds earlier, would have been timing on his side. Marcel, now knows that there could be a swing from Raptors, so he's essentially worried about this angle. Deathmaker still trying to provide cover. He drops down from 410, and this is essentially VLT playing for retake. Lammy Snacks, though, on the back of that Recon's not able to find that kill. John, quick with the trade, and he forces the issue. The stick is there, and right away he's a little late with the Hunter's Fury. They might get the kill, but it doesn't seem like Fullsense are having any chill whatsoever. They bring the heat on the retake, and on the back of the heat, they are able to just steal that round. And they need to let off some steam here, VLT. That could have been timing slightly off, but I understand why Rightways would hold that Hunter's Fury.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In a situation like that, there was still a lot more time left. Usually teams bait that tap.
Exactly. That was the last case scenario for Velocity. Yeah.
Alright, Hellfighter.
He can go for it again. Only thing is his location is now known. But regardless, the Poison Cloud will go through. And Velocity, they've got to go through and win this round. The good thing for Velocity, other small silver lining, was that they could save 4 of their rifles. So that's still well and good that they can initiate this round as well with a proper, full buy. And it's not like they've lost their rifles and the round. They just lost the round. So yeah, bad thing, they're down 3. Good thing, they can try and win this one. But now they'll be up against Onliner holding this angle towards B Garage. And he's waiting for it. The members of Velocity, everyone has rotated over. And with 40 seconds being gone from the action phase, practically not a lot of map control given. Velocity have to stick with the B execute right now, unless they want to go for something entirely out of the box. So the Pain Shields will go through. Deathmaker's pushing. Marzel's there. The Owl Drone gets information. And very, very soon, we see that Fullsense, more specifically Love Family, has gone for the Viper Split. And now Velocity, yet again, another decision to make. Do they contest Love Family? Do they try and kill him? Or should they fall back to A?
Deathmaker has the right idea, though. He knows exactly what the play from Onliner is. Considering that Recon, this is almost telegraphed. Oh my god, Deathmaker finds that kill. Another second, and that might have been another story. Lammy Snacks.
20 seconds.
And Hellfighter, this was his timing window. John Olsen, a perfectly executed peek. Marcel, though, with this push through Snowman, has given his team a little more real estate. Wrapping around the side, gets out of guard. The spike denied yet again. Right to ace. 4 seconds left. He can find the kills. Time ain't gonna be his friend.
1 enemy remaining.
A hard loss as it was traded down at the last second. But it is not gonna be a second round for VLT. 5-1. This is just full sending it here on the defense duty.
Velocity, they have opted for that timeout right now, and considering the sheer way that they've lost the past 2 rounds, it's really, really unfortunate, because in this case as well, time was such a big factor. Velocity, I think Love Family's Viper Spit, it did so much more damage than what meets the eye. Obviously the obvious things are on the surface level that, oh yeah, Velocity can't enter it, they'll be decaying, the HP will be falling down. No, the sheer amount of time and resources wasted by the members of VLT in the hopes that they can try and get rid of the Love Family, who was playing it smartly behind those boxes. For a brief second, observers did show his point of view, and he was just going in and out of the Viper's Pit, entering it, exiting it, so that Velocity could not hunt him down, because that Viper's Pit was the very reason why Velocity won the round. And because there were like 20 seconds remaining, Velocity just had to brute force their way in. There was no other option for Velocity. They had to go into the Viper's Pit. They could not fall back now and go to A. There was just not enough time. Velocity tried it. Amaterasu was the one planting the spike. There was no Sage Wall because, like I said, VLT had used up their resources already, and Fullsense punished them for that. Amaterasu fell in trying to plant the spike. Then Deathmaker died as well. 2 members of Velocity gone, and then all the reinforcements came in from the members of Fullsense. It was a very, very good round from the defense, all thanks to how they played with the Vipers. But then right now, what exactly is happening from John Olsen? That was just unnecessary. That was a great flick from Deathmaker, but also John Olsen. Yeah, big mistake right there. Onliners there. Lammy Snacks takes his position, and this is far too aggressive from Fullsense. I'm not understanding what they're trying to do since they're getting punished for it.
Well, maybe it was on the back of hoping that Deathmaker doesn't hit that kind of a ridiculous flick. All things said and done, that was just insanity right then, right there. This advantage for VLT. Does it fold? Chalalala. A very nice read on what play lied ahead of him. It evens the numbers. but the odds not even whatsoever as time slowly starting to cost Fullsense. They're gonna be able to play the post plan on the back of Hellfighter, and now it's Hellfighter to play for the win himself. The 1 versus 2. They use the Cloudburst, but they line up for him. Hellfighter, when does he pull the trigger? He needs to get the frag. He does! At the last possible tick. This play, it's darn right sick.
Right, having a look at the replay right there. Oh my god, Hellfighter. And yeah, that was big. That replay is all I was waiting for, to see it again. Slow motion as well, how he got those final 2. Absolutely important. So feels to me, Velocity, their timeout worked out for them, and the timing was good, but then again, Fullsense. I really didn't like that round from them with the way Online and John Olsen just pushed A. That was too aggressive. In my eyes, there was no need for that. You can't play passively. If for the side of Fullsense, their retakes and their holds are working, there's no need to bring the fight to Velocity. Let them come to you. You're on defense on Icebox, and yet again, Onliner, he was going for those peaks, and there are 3 members on the side of Fullsense in this one shabby corner, and Marzel with the pain shield. That can be big. Look at that, Marzel pushing in. He'll be good for 1, and oh, yep, there's the second as well. So great stuff right there. Only Deathmaker is the casualty so far in Amaterasu. Brilliant angle behind the boxes. Great headshot as well. And Fullsense, now they are going to be struggling against this from the side of Velocity. The Hunter's Fury goes through, trying to disorient, trying to damage some members of VLT, but it misses everyone. Velocity knew that, and even in the backstab, Amaterasu holding the left angle right now, but in this case, he'll be punished by Love Family. So 1 member right here towards Rafters, 1 coming in from behind, Marzel with the 3rd, and now Lamy Snacks, he knows. I mean, either he can save or he's still going to stick it. He's going to push for it at the very least, hoping to get a couple of frags on board, but with Marzel holding this angle, it's going to be a 4K for this man. And it's going to be Velocity getting their 3rd. So they are back on the grind. They're investing utility, they're investing ultimates, and it is working for them. They still have 3 ults on board, but mind you, so do Fullsense. But Fullsense, I don't think they'll be using plenty in this round. I mean, at least the Bladestone can come on from the side of Onliner. But other than that, Velocity should have this round on board as well. And the timing of the timeout was really, really good, because Fullsense now find themselves in a position where they aren't really sure how to take these gunfights from Velocity. A lot has changed after this timeout, and a lot of that is favoring the attackers now.
Yeah, and with the way VLT have been winning the last 2 rounds, they're stripping Fullsense of their wings. Whatever advantage they've gotten by winning the majority of the first half for now is nullified. The reset's hard, but Hellfighter, he has fallen. There needs to be a lot committed for this post plan. There needs to be an aggressive stance by Deathmaker. Potentially, we have that Hunter's Fury to play the post plan. There is, however, 3 members on this backstab. Fullsense. It's a 5th sense from the side of right to ace, although Onliner handing out haircuts, trying to triple up, was successful at it. He could afford a right click right to ace, and he's making
Ace!
the
Ace!
That's an ace! In your face, VLT, as he screams out in frustration, and his burning ambition fed. What a round! This game is getting thriftier by the minute.
Alright, let's have a look at this. I really want to see the replay right now. That's number 1 from the backstab. Now the toxic screen really preventing him from seeing, however, flying through, jumping on boxes, jumping on the heads, and getting into the minds of Velocity, not just with his plays, but with his blades. He just cracked the skulls open, and he cracked the attack open from behind, and there was not much that Velocity could do. They dealt with all other 4 members of Fullsense. However, this one Blade Storm really, really costed them. And now it's going to be the other Jet, another one of the top fraggers going for the Blade Storm. Now it's time for Deathmaker to show from the same angle in a similar position with the same bit of knives and the same amount of knives as well, that even he can get those aces, even he can get those clutches. But Fullsense, they aren't in the position Velocity were. They don't have to hold this angle. They can play from behind the scenes And considering the amount of manpower Fullsense have on this B map right now, on this B site right now on the map, 3.5 members rotating here, they are pretty solid to deal with this execution. But Onliner, if he's the first casualty, look at how vulnerable he is. He is speaking. I think he has spotted Deathmaker. And I think Deathmaker spotted him as well. Vandal versus Bladestorm. Onliner will be good for one. He's got to fall back. He's looking for another. Nah, that was too greedy. Marzel has been resurrected. Online, no chance for him in the position that he's in. And Fullsense are fully aware that Velocity are on B.
Yeah, with that opening kill, with the revive, man advantage sways the way of VLT. They're gonna commit to this as well. The showstopper from Marcel pushes the defense just a little back. Is he gonna be caught? There is that. Oh no! Love Fam gives him the kiss of death, and his push made futile. This Hunter's Fury from right to ace is gonna be influential, because there's nothing that they have to oppose it except for committing to a push. Deathmaker trying to play that one a little aggressive, gets a little punished, and now comes the Hunter's Fury. It's only the Hunter left though, and it's right to ace hunting. He becomes the hunted. 7-3, and this attack is just not meant to be. As Fullsense, their fort holds strong, and it just doesn't feel like they're gonna do anything wrong.
Velocity has, Velocity has forced them to make mistakes in the past, but already the sheer difference, the 7 rounds versus the 3 rounds, I think is the big icky factor for VLT right now. If they can get a 7-5, that's all well and good. I genuinely think a 7-5 is not too bad. It's not something you'll be satisfied with, but it's something you'll be content. However, anything more in Velocity run the risk of yet again, I'm not going to lie, of essentially like it won't be a good situation. So, and making up that 4-round differential against Fullsense on their attack, it'll be a bit more difficult. So at the moment right now, you've got the side of Velocity yet again attempting an A-take, but in the middle of the Viper split, Marzel, he was just pushing. He was trying to catch Love Family off guard. Really wasn't the best of plays. Great positioning from Love Family right there. He's got Onliner for support, and Velocity, well, in terms of the duelist support, they only have Deathmaker alive as the primary entry fragger.
They are committing to this though. The unbridled curiosity leads them into the Viper Spit itself. They've been punished in the B side prior. The A side is going to be a different story. They know what the jig is. They try to punish and they're successful at it to some extent. The trade comes down through, but it's Onliner who finds the better end of the stick. A 2 versus 4 quickly translated into a doable situation with Hellfighter finding that kill. The utility buys VLT that all-important space they need to start thinking of ways back to success. New possibilities blooms where right to ace lingers, and they are playing this one together. The revive is gonna pull out the bait from the Hellfighter, and it's all left on the Minister of Defense itself. Cannot pull off the unthinkable. 8 rounds already on the side of Fullsense. This is a dominant first half showing, and they are looking hungry to continue their journey in the Zotac Cup. If this is any semblance of what we're gonna witness in the next 3 hours, I hope that VLT have come prepping with something more in the bag.
Certainly hope so. Keeping in mind, OG, that this is the map choice of Velocity themselves, they absolutely need a bit more. Perhaps the side swap can be a big influential factor. I think at this point that surely on that aspect itself, Velocity can keep a bit of their hopes alive. But that doesn't mean that they don't have to win rounds right now. That doesn't mean they can give up on half number 1. Because like I said, 8-4 is bad. 9-3 is even worse. So Velocity have got to make sure that this round doesn't fall out of their hands. And the thing is, this round is really not certainly... it's very uncertain which team is going to win this, because if you have a look at the ult economy, that's what matters to me. Except for John Olsen, well, who is now dead, No one else has an ultimate on board. No resurrection for either one of the teams. Bladestorm's on there. Viper Spits are gone. Now you just have to play this sheerly on your firepower and onliner. Yeah, spotted health. He's peeking. Great shot right there. Right to ace is gone without an initiator velocity. Looking to go for those gunfights. They'll have to dry peek so many angles, space check so much. It'll be difficult for them as Amaterasu already gets tagged. And velocity mid rotations from their side. However, Love family was already aware of that. Shala repositions himself. He's got the support of Lamy Snacks as well. And this crossfire, it's far too deadly. Look at those assists happening from Lamy Snacks as well as Shala picks up those two headshots, leaving Health from VLT all alone. And Fullsense now. They've got 3 members. They've got the spike in their eyesights as well.
The assist, the hallmark of a big brain Sova main, and he's delivering. Right now, Hellfighter, how much could you ask of him, dude? Yeah, this clutch, it's not going to be in the realms of possibility. This is a daunting
Switching sides.
first half by the side of Fullsense. They've been in very. I'm failing to find adjectives to describe their brutality, to describe their lack of any kind of mercy.
Mercy. Yeah.
They're just taking away all semblance of hope from VLT, and they made it look so easy on the defense duty. It didn't even feel like their plan was getting hindered whatsoever, which as an attack, you need to make sure that you make your enemies always tread on tippy toes. This could change though. On the defense, things could work differently for the side of VLT. You just gotta hope that they finally warm up, man.
Yeah, for the side of velocity, I'm not going to lie. I mean, having a look at the highlights right now, that's where I can, essentially, well, pardon the pun, but highlight stuff as well. Not only that, but we'll get to see a lot of amazing kills as well, right from round number 1. The pistol was there, 4 versus 2 turned into a 1v1. Great effort from Velocity, and these are the kinds of rounds Velocity could really try and win. Rounds where they were either getting the plant down, forcing time pressure on the members of Fullsense, or then get the manpower down as well. As even in this 1 versus 1, there was health with the Ares, and what a thrifty round. But after this Fullsense, I think they realize that they don't have to give in to the pressure that Velocity are trying to create early on. They can just play the bomb side. They can play passively, wait for Velocity. If you think you have a solid chance, like talking about, probability, if you think statistically you have a solid chance, whether with it being, the use of your ultimates or the angles you're creating or the sheer outnumbering of the manpower you have, let's say it's a 3 versus 2, then you can go for the peaks. However, other than that, if you're seeing 5 members of Velocity rushing down A or B, you don't have to counteract them just now. Fullsense are looking very strong in their retakes, and that is something I have to give them credit for. It's whenever they make mistakes like these, like such as this round where Health got that double headshot with the Vandal, and where John Olsen and Onliner just pushed through for no reason whatsoever, except for, looking kills, which is not the right mentality to have. If Fullsense can prevent things like that from happening on the future maps as well, their defense will be very good because retakes for their side are looking extremely well. And if this is any indication of how Bind and Haven will be, Velocity may as well be prepared on their attack, because people like Onliner, people like John Olsen, they're not going to calm down any step of the way. They're going to make sure that they kill every single member of VLT 5 times over.
A part of me also feels like Fullsense has this game plan where you need to take fights. That's a very, I wouldn't say common, but it's a fundamental in Icebox to some extent on the defense. It's either towards B main or A main where there needs to be contact done.
Right.
That's something that Fullsense were reliably doing, but something that did not work for VLT, right? They, even if won those gunfights, the retakes were, in all honesty, a little too brutal, all things said and done. Now,
True.
they are the ones on the hold. They are the ones who have the honus to be the ones with the back seat, waiting for Fullsense to walk into their side and waiting for Fullsense to take that fight to them. That way, the terms change, and so does the game for VLT. Let's see if the game changes whatsoever now.
Yeah, game changing as well. It's going to be pretty interesting, as at the moment it's still really looking well for the members on the side of Fullsense. We can have a look at their bootcamp as we see the point of view of John Olsen. Not much talking happening because I think the members, they're already aware of what to do and they don't want to waste any of the energy talking more, because yeah, trust me, as a caster, I think we know talking takes a lot of energy, and especially for these players, they are yelling 24/7. Meanwhile, for the side of Velocity as well, I think, yeah, just one or two members will be talking. This is a point I've said previously. Whenever your tactical timeouts are happening, whenever stuff is happening, or especially in a tactical timeout, do not use that 1 minute you have or the 1 minute 15 whatever to argue. Do not do that. If you're an up and coming team, have one person, the IGL. If you have a coach, the coach, let that person talk. Tell the team what they're doing wrong. Let him or her tell the team that what can improve, and then the other 4 members should have enough trust in that person to, you know, listen to them and then follow whatever they're saying. So with all that being said and done, everything's over. The pause is done. Now we are resuming the second half, and already Shala is resuming with kills. He gives lives. He takes away the person. He takes away the life of the person who gives them as well. Amaterasu is now off the board. Fullsense now pushing down Kitchen. Meanwhile, the actual execute's happening on A, and the fact that they're getting kills makes Velocity think it's a B take. It's a split B take, and Marzil is right here. Meanwhile, look at the spike going on over. Fullsense are playing this perfectly. The 3 members of Velocity, not only are they still in B, but they're getting tagged. They're getting lit up. They're getting killed. And Fullsense are not going to allow rotations. They have everything under lockdown.
Look at how much choke they have. Positioning is brutal. This pistol round is over before it even began. Lamy Snacks and Chalala in perfect position. Ooh, the right click. Yeah, Lamy. Feeling the salt. He's slicing the meat. At this point, you can call him Salt Bay, right?
He's flexing on them, absolutely. Yeah, I'd say sure.
He has that nice movement as well.
Oh, the counter strafe, yeah, we just saw that. That is very good.
Yeah. Well, 10-3. What's the counter reply for VLT? If I'm not mistaken, this is VLT's map pick, right?
Yes.
Now, 10-3. It doesn't feel like their presence is felt just yet. Their buy, it's gonna come in the round following. They're just gonna try to do damage. Beautiful paint shell. That does a lot of damage from the get-go, and now they're trying to capitalize. Amaterasu punished in his position.
Oh,
Onliner
Jesus.
though. My goodness. This guy, he snaps heads like that's what he's bred to do. And that's what he's gonna get his bread and butter with. 2 versus 4 nonetheless. VLT gonna be on mere pistols. For all they care, they're playing for the round that's gonna come next. They're not gonna be stressed out whatsoever. The only thing that even might cause them to sweat is the scoreline. This is gonna be a marathon, CCV, as VLT fight an Icebox, fight for their map. They need to now make sure they pace themselves for the long game ahead of them. Because if they want to be in the Zotac Cup, if they want to close out Icebox or take it to a map 3, let it be how they want to, they need to be gearing up for the marathon and not waste what's left of their attrition in this leg of the race.
And already we may see hints of talk going on over towards Bind as well. I think yesterday Velocity, their main takeaway after their map was over, and you know, and behind the scenes or the VOD review, whatever they must have been doing, or team discussions, it would have been, Bind would have certainly been a proper aspect of that and a big topic of what they must have been discussing as a roster. So I'm not saying that Bind already, Velocity are going to lose again, but it's also, you have to consider the fact that how Fullsense are playing. I mean, 11-3, the score speaks for itself. I do not need to emphasize on it. I do not need to explain it in any way, shape or form. I think a lot of people watching, they may understand looking at the score itself that, okay, a Velocity, they've got a work to do. They've got a lot of work to do. This is not going optimally, efficiently. They have things that they have got to improve in order to essentially, you know, win more rounds. Because yeah, being down 8 rounds, it's not really good. And now yet again, we are seeing rotations happen a bit. No rotations happening from Velocity. So health has just been spotted by the Owl drone. Still, you only have Amaterasu playing near Kitchen. And this makes me a bit worried for the side of Velocity because exactly what are they thinking? In their minds, they are thinking that maybe that owl drone was a fake. This recon is a fake as well, because still Hellfight is the only one in the bomb side. No rotates happening from Velocity, and now the members of Fullsense, they're ready to plant the spike. Oh, Velocity, you better get back into the bomb site very quickly. Now I think they're getting the information, and now they're ready to rotate over.
So it essentially was a retake setup from the get-go. VLT were ready to let go of the site and play this dicey game. A Mexican standoff, but 5 versus 5. That's the only altercation here. Timing is what's gonna make the trigger itch. John Olsen pushed back, his eagerness to find a kill. So far, unfed. The recon quickly destroyed. Could consider a spam through now with the Vandal. Gives away a little bit of tracer fire. The tap baits in enough. And that was more than enough room for the crossfire to work perfectly as Onliner comes in the back lines.
Match point.
That felt like Fullsense knew exactly what the play was from VLT. They knew the retake was imminent. They knew that it's going to be a 5 versus 5. Hence, they had to pull off such a maneuver. That backstab was timed to perfection, and VLT weren't able to push the fronts fast enough. Utility perfectly used the delay. That was so well orchestrated. And VLT suffocated out of air in their own map pick. Luckily, it's a best of 3. We hope that it goes the full way, because right now, it's going fully the way of Fullsense.
Blocking sight.
Let's make it a sheer bit of retaliation, but he gets punished for it yet again by John Olsen. And there was Health just trying to be on the ropes, and Velocity, they certainly are on the ropes. And this rope, well, it can cut off at any point in this round. This can be the end. It's all down to Marzel with this judge. He's got to pass a verdict. Are Velocity guilty of losing this match? Are they going to go to jail for the next 5 minutes and try and escape out of there? Because the jail they are in right now, it's a mental one. They are up against Fullsense. Fullsense have them locked up. Marzel cannot escape quite physically. He has to wait for the wall to dissipate, and it does. And he gets an easy kill onto Onliner. Was watching the entrance of Kitchen. But with Marzel going Kitchen, Fullsense go A, and this is just swayed enough in favor of the attackers, because 4 versus 1, Marzel may have years and years of experience in FPS shooters, but against the members of Fullsense, how much can he really shoot? He's got 15 bullets in the magazine, 1 paint shell to help him out, 150 HP, including the armor. However, including him, there's no one else. Everyone else has been excluded from this round. All 4 other members are dead. No revives, no resurrection, all down to this one man. He's gonna be peeking, he's gonna be prodding, he's gonna be checking these angles. However, Fullsense are aware of it, and Shala, he finishes things off. Fullsense, ladies and gentlemen, will be taking map number 1, 13-3 on the pick of VLT.
That was a dominant map 1. Onliner and Deathmaker went toe-to-toe. But it was only Deathmaker who was able to deliver such kind of performances. Hellfighter kicking with the clutch. Yeah, it was just so circumstantial from time to time. But you have to give credit where credit's due, right? Fullsense, it seems like they had a 6th sense. Every single time they were able to pull off that X factor right play. They were able to pull off so many thrifties, and you can say the same about VLT. In fact, the 2 out of the 3 rounds that they got was on the back of a thrifty victory. So, yeah, undoubtedly, Fullsense, the much more prepared squad, but who knows? VLT on the back of yesterday's performance would have completely had a different prep for what they have in store today. And that's what we have to hope. I think the replays should help us relive the experience on Icebox yet again, because before we head into map 2, it's important for us to look back at what just happened, right? In my opinion, Fullsense just had the right formula there. On the defense, they played how they need to. They played aggressively, at least through one avenue, got information, always got on the back lines. And when you're on the back lines and you essentially cancel out obvious areas, you get more than reliable information without using a recon, without using an owl drone, right? You have a trump card in your back pocket. Hence, VLT found it relatively harder on their attack, even though they had a more dive bomb oriented attack. What essentially Fullsense said to them is, you want to dive bomb? Cool. We'll give you main control. We'll give you at least one side of the map. But all things said and done, let's have a look at the highlights, because there were a couple of highlight plays made in this map.
Absolutely. From both of the teams. I mean, sure, the score may be 13-3, but that doesn't mean Velocity had a good rounds for going. You know, there was the 4K from Marzel as well. Even this pistol so close. I can watch this pistol round time in and time out because of how close it was. And then here comes the thrifty win from Velocity. The Leers were destroyed. The post-plant positions were held. Even though Shala got a double, he was on very low HP. He tried healing himself, but just wasn't enough. But after this Velocity, you know, again, they started to lose grip bit by bit. You know, John Olsen and his stolen ace as well. Great round right there. The resurrection really helped the members of Fullsense. And no matter what Velocity were trying, even on their attack, there were those couple of rounds, OG, where Velocity members, even though the spike was diffused, they still stayed alive. However, the rounds going in favor of Fullsense just spoke more and more about the fact that Fullsense, they don't need to always go for kills. They can just play on the basis of their utility. And that's exactly, I have to agree with you. Because Velocity were playing double dive, because they were playing Jet and Raze, Fullsense allowed them to take map control. It was only after the dive happened did Fullsense strike, because then it was going to be an equal gunfight regardless. Once you see the Jet or the Raze, you know, use their ability, dive through the bomb site, it's really difficult to kill them. Once they've landed, once the spike has landed on the ground, it has been planted, then you can have your counteracting measures ready. You can have your own Jet with her own Blade Storm just spamming away and shooting everyone and anyone she can find online. Just with this beautiful ace. Let's look at the final kill. Another one onto Deathmaker. Beautiful round right there. And a 9-3 scoreline. I mean, just 4 rounds consecutively for the members of Fullsense. Really good stuff. And even their holds. I loved this Viper spec from Love Family. Initially, I was a bit doubtful seeing Love Family on the Viper. I was like, this man usually plays the Jet. I've seen him play the Jet so many times. On the Viper as a controller, what can he do? Turns out, pretty much a lot. His Viper split were great. His angles were great. I really loved his utility usage overall. And then again, he got kills, but that's all 10 players. All 10 players in the server right now, they get kills one way or another.
Yeah, and in a team game like Valorant, having versatility is one of the most key factors of being a force as dominant as Fullsense, right? It should be an innate sense of all 5 of your players to be able to play multiple agents on a very high and similar caliber, where you can run different type of compositions, different type of strategies. Now, Fullsense, they're proving to us why they're so highly regarded. BLT, they have the opportunity to take this to a map 3 on the back of Bind, because with the replays, it's pretty evident that Icebox seems to have Fullsense written all over the wall.
True. I mean, what a map from the side of Fullsense on Icebox. You know, great performance overall. And now moving on forward to the side of Bind as well. You know, it's going to be interesting because on Icebox, you know, the MVPs, there were so many of them. However, there was one person who stood out to everyone. The one person getting so many kills time in, time out. So let's bring up the MVP of this match. Let's bring up the MVP of Icebox. And the performance that they had, in my argument, everyone was an MVP from the side of Fullsense. However, Onliner, or well, now known as PTC as well, you know, with the Jet, 16 kills, average combat score 287, 3 first bloods, just all over great performance. There was that ace, there was just everything working in his favor. And like you said, playing the dive agent, the only dive agent in the side of Fullsense, the amount of information he got and the way he got out of those angles safe and sound meant it was just more resources for the members of Fullsense to spend later on in the round, and he obviously helped them by face checking angles nonetheless.
Yeah, now I understand where that sadistic stare at death comes from. Man has absolute pleasure and joy while at the same time making a face of no emotion while executing his foe. That was a merciless Jet. That ace is gonna go in the highlight clips for sure, especially that last frag, man. It looked like a dunk after you pulled off a 4-man dribble.
I know double dribble. But right now, I think Velocity, they should be looking for a double win on the 2 maps that are left. And the overall performance as well. I mean, Deathmaker popped off. Like you said, Deathmaker and Onliner, they were going back and forth and back and forth. Only a single kill separated them. However, the other 8 members as well, there were so many kills happening left, right, and center that mainly favored the side of Fullsense, that allowed them to get so many more rounds on board when compared to their opposition. Now, on Bind, what's going to be the case? Because Fullsense have opted for this map. And if something tells me, OG, Fullsense may go for a double duelist pick here as well. I know it's not that common. Like, to an extent, we do see like a Reyna or Raze. Are we going to see a Jet? I'm not really sure. Lammy Snacks may end up on the Raze. As for the Reyna, John Olsen can pick it. But all that being said and done, I still really want to see the compositions these teams will go for, because I think I know for Velocity, we did see VLT play the map of Bind a couple of while ago. Actually, it was in the qualifiers for the Zotac Cup in the South Asian qualifiers against Team Road. They did end up winning 13-0, and they were playing double controller, double duelist. It was very interesting having no Sentinel on board. Are Velocity going for a risky composition like this against the members of Fullsense as well? Or was that only a one-time thing to, I don't know, test out the waters maybe?
And you never know, man. For all you know, with the way they might have countered it, they might have had just different kind of prep for VLTS. They did get a chance to see them yesterday. So, ladies and
Yeah.
gentlemen, don't miss your chance on catching the next map, because we're going to be back right after a 5-minute break. So, grab your popcorn, grab whatever you need to drink, because this is going to be an extravaganza of a show.
Welcome back, everyone. You are watching the Zotac Cup Valorant powered by Nvidia, Crucial, LG Ultragear, and Corsair. I'm CC, joined alongside OG the Lotus Chicken, and we are bringing to you the lower bracket. The saga continues. Two teams have already been eliminated from the Zotac Cup, and today, two more will be eliminated. The match on hand right now, it is Fullsense from Thailand up against Velocity Gaming from India, and they have already faced off against each other on one map. It was the choice of Velocity Gaming. Icebox was the map, and Fullsense ended up defeating them 13-3. OG, now moving on over to our next map, as we can have a look on our screens, it's gonna be Bind. What is your prediction?
My prediction is gonna be a ruthless victory from the side of Fullsense. They look like a completely different beast today. They came prepped with a very, very nice counter to what VLT have picked in this best of three. They picked Icebox, and it didn't seem like VLT were even in their juices. Right now, there is a saying that I live by. When you are hunting a beast and when it's vulnerable, you strike it then. Don't let it get back on his feet, because then you are going to be the one at the disadvantage. And that's the mindset of a warrior. And we know how lethal the warriors on the side of Fullsense are. That's my prediction, honestly. What do you think, buddy? Do you see this going a three-way affair? Because I don't mind being proven wrong. Sometimes I feel
Oh,
really
true.
good being proven wrong, because that just
Yeah.
shows that anything can happen, and that's why we love Valorant, right? But
Yep.
with all rational thought, with all the stats, and with what we have seen, you wouldn't call me crazy for assuming Fullsense have this in the bag.
No, I would agree with you. Again, 13-3 on the map of Velocity with like similar-ish agent compositions. Like, okay, you had, Jet and Reyna versus Jet and Raze. There is a bit of difference right there. But primarily, other than that, with mirror comms, I'd say that the fact that Fullsense performed not only on their attack, but on their defense as well, both through and through, winning so many of these rounds. Like it was 5-3. And OG, from a 5-3, it went to a 13-3. Fullsense did not, like, they won 8 rounds consecutively through a side swap, through the pistol, through the anti-eco. Even the full buys went in their favor as well. Keeping that in mind, the fact that Velocity, once they started losing, once the snowball effect started to take place better and better and better for the members of Fullsense, it just caused this avalanche, and Velocity were dead under it, buried alive. So now in this case, I have to agree that on Bind, the agent selection will be an interesting factor. So why not have a look at it? Because that will determine a lot of the aspects, considering how these teams want to play. For the side of Velocity, I've called it Astra, Viper, and Jet and Raze. Marzel has already gone for the Raze. Health on the Astra, nothing special right there. Deathmaker, we know he's going to go for the Jet. As for the members of Fullsense, double Initiator and Astra Viper. So no Sentinels whatsoever for these members. I am really liking this, because Velocity, with how it's shaping up to be, they're looking to go double Sentinel, double Duelist. Meanwhile, the members of Fullsense, they're going for double Initiator, double Duelist. Meanwhile, the members of Fullsense, they're going for double Initiator, Sky and Breach, and then they're looking to go for double Controller, Astra Viper. These are really out of the box compositions. So now I'd say we are not, I wouldn't call this like an off meta pick. I wouldn't say this is very uncommon. It still happens on Bind. But now that we have quite different compositions on board, I'd say that Velocity have a slightly better chance of winning. But honestly, we've never seen these teams play against each other on the map of Bind with compositions such as this. So for now, uncertainty always lies there. The couple of initial rounds of the first half, then the initial rounds of the second half will give us the best idea as to how this map is heading forward.
And one certainty is, I have that same feeling as well, CCV. This could be a different story for VLT, because yesterday in their matchup on Bind, what essentially stopped them was the way that they were being sent back by Action PH when it was the 40-second mark, with the Sage Wall,
Right.
with a lot of hold utility that Action PH drafted into. It's going to be a different story today, though, as it's a new day, it's a new game, it's a new draft, and we are ready to get into Bind, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be a different game plan adopted by the side of Fullsense, but by no means count Fullsense out. Just because they have a different game plan doesn't mean it ain't going to be a potent one. In fact, it might just be a different it might be a different poison in and of itself. Although Deathmaker deterred not even by death, as he looks to inflict it on his foes. And he's on his tippy toes with this push. He's made a lot of room through Shars while Marzel is going to hold in through Hookah. This is essentially going to buy into Deathmaker's push, who's caught in a dicey position if he's not looking the right way. Cha-la-la-la-la, as he sings sha-la-la-la-la on the back of that first pick, he's going to rejoice. The aggression punished, the man disadvantage with a minute on the clock. Fullsense, they have the leverage of taking this anywhere and waiting out for more aggression, which is going to come out from Hell Left. But Onliner being so dead low, this Frenzy, if kept on the low, can do a lot of damage.
Close quarter combat as well. That Frenzy can absolutely shine in, especially with Onliner pushing through Shower's health. He needs to strike at the right opportunity. He's got to strike, and he does. Oh, he gets tagged to 22, down to 22 HP, but he still gets the frag nonetheless. Velocity, they have equalized the man count, and now the members of Fullsense, they're ready for a B take. The members of Velocity, they are in Hookah, and Amaterasu, he'll be peeking wide, looking for a kill. He'll be good for one, and now he's gotten visual information about so many more members of Fullsense there. It is going to be a split retake from Velocity. I'm liking this. The recon bolt goes through, 2 members from Hookah, 2 coming in from Defender spawn. They're right there. Fullsense, the 3 members that are alive are really bound from so many angles that they have to escape through one way or another. They quite literally have to fight their way through this defense. They have to find, some sort of way to retaliate off. Right to is pushing through. He's in the Nebula. Lamy Snacks, he gets 1 kill. And Marzel with the shot, he pushes through. And that was a bait play. Marzel was bunny hopping purely because of the reason that Right to is could peek. And now John Olsen, he's in the bomb site. He's got the fault line. He's got to push through. And he won't be getting a single kill. Right to is with his double kill. Finishes things off. And Velocity, great retake right there.
Yeah, at the point where they committed to their position, they essentially dug themselves into a grave, and the only way they're gonna get out is if they fight out. That could have been a clutch, as Rightways was not looking. And information once relayed, there's no way getting past this over like Rightways. Especially with the plant, right? Once they plant it inside the tube, that backstab from Hookah becomes far less potent because there's no possibility for you to deny the defuse. We're gonna have Marzel on his iconic Judge. And this, his favorite map, his favorite agent, his favorite position. His favorite gun as well.
Shoulder peek right there. Waiting for it. Health also present with a similar angle. This time with the Spectre. And now the members of Fullsense, with them being just on, a couple of members being on upgraded pistols, really not looking like a well-fought round, considering the angles that the Velocity members are holding, considering the crossfire being set up towards A shot as well. That peak comes in from Health. Health and Marzel have all of this under lockdown. They're not going to let anyone push through, regardless of how much utility has been spent by the members of Fullsense. And speaking of utility, there isn't much. Considering they're gone on their eco, there isn't much utility remaining. So for that very reason, Onliner, he's just going to be shyly pushing through. And as a matter of fact, 4 members of Fullsense will be doing that. Velocity are allowing them to get into the bomb site. They're just hoping and waiting for information, as Marzel will be playing on the basis of that. Crosshair placement on point. Hellfighters in the bomb site. There goes Marzel. That's good for a double. And Health can peek through. Deathmaker's also there from the Shars. He's also holding angles. It's going to be Jet versus Jet very soon. Onliner's there, and Shara from behind. He gets the classic kill. He was playing the slow game. However, Health, he really had to push things through. However, he jumped through the roof, and so did his body. It fell through the floor. And now Velocity, they have to deal with this. They have to deal with this.
Oh my goodness.
Wait! This may just turn everything around. There's the audio cue of Amaterasu pushing through. And what just happened to the members of Velocity? I get Right to is missing the angle, but Amaterasu just entirely pushed into the bomb site, or well, into Hookah with knives out.
Well, all of us seems like the sheriff of this county. Literally Clint Eastwood everybody, right? That was just a perfect way to reply to what VLT had. Just like what they did in Icebox. It's gonna be the same story yet again. The Thrifty continues. So it feels like at this point we're at the thrift shop. VLT, will they pull out one of their own? Marzel again with that very, very cheeky shorty. He's gonna buy himself a little bit of space on the back of that paint shell. They're not gonna be able to push and clear that angle, which keeps Marzel alive. They do come in with that heal. So whatever Marzel did in terms of damage with that pain chill, negated. The only thing he did was zone them out of hookah for just a little longer, and it seems like the recommitment's on its way. Did chip away their armor though, so the shorty could be a little more potent, little more lethal. We've seen it betray the trust of a lot, but for those few who know how to give it due, they reap its reward. Fullsense, are they interested to fight
With the
this
rotations.
Exactly. Because this might seem like a bad play in retrospect, but the rotations, if they got the frag on a Marzel, which they did, it sets up an empty B site and
30
VLT
seconds
on just mere pistols. So
Velocity is
gonna
still not
be-
aware what's happening. Now they get hint. Now they know exactly what's happening. However, it's a very one-sided retake. Everyone is coming in from defender spawn. They can peek through elbow as well. And this entrance, however, against this Ares, I mean, look at this.
my
Love family
God,
go
the
through.
threat.
Double with the Ares, double with the Vandal. Online or Love family. The two jets on the side of Fullsense. Just absolutely rip through whatever velocity we're planning right there. Let's have a look at this instant replay in slow motion. And let's see the point of view of Love family. That is the first kill. Beautiful headshot. The follow through.
Disgusting. The
A
dash.
total of 3 kills for him, and that was the round done and dusted. So velocity, they got a bit lopsided right there. They weren't really sure, and this is what happens time to time. In one round on Icebox as well, velocity weren't entirely sure where the execute was taking place. You know, they were thinking it was still going to be on A, it happened on B. In this case, didn't really matter too much for velocity, since considering it was their own eco. Now the fact that they have got rifles on board, considering the fact that now it's going to be, you know, full buy versus full buy, all 10 players have to be far more cautious of their movements.
They do. They're still keen towards watching out for some kind of lingering threat at hookah. They're not playing overly aggressive. They're just seeing if there's any information peak or any confirmation peak that's going to come their way. Although Deathmaker, on top of the quad, is able to get that opening kill, which gives them the man advantage, sure, but more importantly, it removes the cover, at least one aspect of it from the side of Fullsense. That's it's all going to be on the Astra now to provide safe haven as their team moves into whichever side. For now, by the looks of it, it looks to be B. Is it meant to be though? VLT with this buy, when they're gonna play this crossfire, it's gonna be utility that sets up the advantage for Fullsense. I'm not sure what Online had dashed into. I think he just dashed into a wall, but this defense stands like a brick wall of its own. The crossfire is immaculate. This is just playing off each other and playing fundamental Valorant. VLT. Secure the buy out of bare basics, which is exactly what they need to take some kind of leverage against Fullsense. You make sense of it, and then you bring in the chaos.
In that round, yeah, Fullsense, I'm not really sure what they were expecting with that execute, considering the fact that they were pushing through a poison cloud and a nebula. You know, you're pushing through smokes into your bomb site. You don't really have the best of ideas what's taking place, how many members out there, which positions they're holding. It's never going to entirely work in your favor. And for Fullsense, they absolutely got punished for it. And in that round, you know, Velocity did deserve to dash out that punishment, because, yeah, that was just a shabby play right there from the attack. Now, the attackers are going to be far more cautious with how they want to play. Deathmaker, quite aggressive angle, and Love Family is there on the boom bot. Does it reveal the location of any member? For now, it doesn't. For now, still that Mexican standoff is happening right here, and still everyone is just waiting passively for someone to peek through. You can see the play happening from B long. The amount of information that the members of Velocity are getting, that everyone from Fullsense is near A. Look at that, Sova and Viper pushing through, right to Ace and Help. They're holding those angles. As right now, Deathmaker, he peeks, he loses his life, and it's going to be Amaterasu, sorry, as the Viper, who gets one trade frag. However, Fullsense, they've gotten into the bomb side. Now they're looking for those kills. Help has been spotted. The Trailblazer goes through. The flash as well, allowing Onliner a great easy kill. Marzel, if he wants to peek from behind, he's got to be careful. If he wants to go short, he's got to be careful as well. There are members of Fullsense hovering all around him, and with the DK affecting him, he's got to peek the angle. He spots the barrel of the gun. That's a great headshot. And now Velocity equalize the score count. 3 versus 3, but Onliner's there. If Marzel catches one off guard, he's the one caught off as well. And Velocity, they're off one man. Their balance, it's getting off by the passing second. Is Online with another. Now right to Ace is right here. That can be a 4K. That is a dash. That's a tailwind. Snake
That's an up
bite
drop.
goes through. And yeah, that's going to be a 4K for online. Great stuff right there. Fullsense. This Viper split really skewed the round in their favor.
This round was won by a key difference in ideology. PLT were playing the numbers game there. 2 men aggressing through B long, they find the trades, but the side of Fullsense played that to positioning and aggression. They knew that VLT were split on the back of the Viper dying, so they were more than ready to play aggressive through backside. They got the flash, they got the dash, they got the bash, and that's exactly what they needed to do. They needed to punish VLT for being split in that sense, and the best way to punish is by taking utility and playing that situation aggressive. A perfect read. And Fullsense, they're fully starting to feel themselves. Deathmaker has himself that Marshall. We've seen him be an absolute menace on Icebox. He was the one who enabled his team, the first Thrifty. He needs to do it here in the second time of asking, here in Bind, to keep things binded together for the side of VLT.
Okay, now I love these plays from Vipers, when they just lock down the bomb side. I think on defense especially, plenty of times, it's rather better to lock down a specific choke point and a narrow passageway of a map rather than a bomb side. We see this on Icebox, we see this on, well, as we can see, Bind right now. Even on other maps, you can't replicate this. I've seen Ascent plays towards A main, although A main is far more... It doesn't have as much cover, so it gets a bit more lethal for either one of the rosters. As right now, I mean, the cloud burst, the gravity well, no matter what onliner tried, he just could not escape. And that was just great utility usage from Health right there. Well, Lamy Snacks retaliates back, and yet again, with 20 seconds on the clock, Fullsense have to execute. And now they're gonna go through showers. They're going to be looking to plant the spike. John Olsen, he's sitting right here alongside the Viper Spit. But Amaterasu, he gets a double kill. This Viper Spit yet again, it shows its value, but now it's gonna go down alongside the body of Amaterasu. Still a 2 versus 3. However, Velocity, they've got ultimates on board. Lamy Snacks though, he eliminates one player. And one player who had the ult ready. Deathmaker from behind. He's aware of the angle. He shoots him. And now it's just down to one member, Shala. 1 versus 2. He's holding angles. Great isolation. And now Deathmaker, he has a play to make. He's got the cloud burst. He's trying to stick it. Shala, he shoulder peeks. He knows Deathmaker's right here. And he clutches it out for his team. Look at him. He's got the face of satisfaction right there. He knows that was big because Velocity, they were on the verge of winning that round. However, Fullsense, they'll be denying them that.
I'm not sure what it is with teams and playing into Viper ults these days. Fullsense though, they're able to make it work. Sure, they lost numbers on the entry through that short position, but they more than made up for it by giving ample position and room for Lamy Snacks to pull off an insane play from Lamps. That was instrumental for Fullsense to find success there. That 1 versus 2 in the end was played to perfection, just like the Blades. As Deathmaker finally puts onliner to a stop. Marzel's position though, is it going to be checked by Chalala? It's the extreme clear, and oh, he committed to it. The Astra players not only have a big brain when they go into astral form, but also outside when they're going to be lurking and searching for any lingering threat.
Absolutely so. The situational awareness is really present from, I'd say, Fullsense right now, considering the angles they were checking in the executes as well. Even the previous round, Shala, with that 1 versus 2, he knew Deathmaker was going to push him. He knew there was no other option. Deathmaker, unfortunate for him, in that round, he did not have the tailwind, which could have been vital for the victory. However, as it stands right now, Velocity, they can still pull things. Deathmaker, he's gotten that 1 frag already. He's looking for more. He's pushing down. He's on the flank. He can find someone, but Love Family, he was holding the angle. And he still is. Amaterasu has been spotted. And Amaterasu, he hasn't gotten the kill. He's got to evade through the snake bite. And there's another in front of him. He cannot evade this one. And time is being wasted. The 2 other members of Velocity, well, one of them is going to get gunned down right to his, holding the same angle. It's going to be a different person, but same result for the members of Velocity. Amaterasu also falls, and Velocity at this point in this round, it was just lethal injection and led to an execution. There wasn't much the defenders could do. The angles they were peeking, the guns that they had, the positions they were holding, at every step of the way, Fullsense were a step ahead. And now they're looking to extend that step by step by a mile.
Mile, this is going to be cut short. We saw this from VLT in Icebox as well, right? They initially looked like they were going to contest on the back of those thrifty victories, but Fullsense play in such a manner where they're able to put a stop to the velocity. They're able to bring it to a grinding halt, which has been successful beyond doubt. And VLT now stand a chance to prove us wrong and prove Fullsense wrong by giving Deathmaker the operator. He's been on a tier of his own while wielding the big gun. And right now, he needs to be the big remedy to this curse that's fallen upon VLT. The curse of the defense duty. Information? Yeah, right away knows at least what's a part of that picture. Although piecing that picture together will require a little more time, this defense is still 3-man strong towards B. To some extent, the advantage here to VLT. If Amaterasu, that could have been a dicey situation. The recon facilitates the push, and Amaterasu, he's more than ready to make the play happen. 15 seconds left on the clock, and this finally adds fire to the flame. They are growing as they cannot be tamed. 3-5, this is the VLT we all know and love. And let's quickly have a slow-mo replay, because the cool play requires this cool... Oh my god, look at that spray, dude. Whew. The hours and hours of work gone in to make this strat book, but it can't be reliant on such plays, CCV. Can't ask this out of Amaterasu every single round. You can't ask this out of Deathmaker every single round. You need to have a strategic way of breaking this attack, which I hope VLT have started to piece together.
Hopefully they have, because right now as well... Oh, look at this play from online. However, Health was aware of that, and Deathmaker piles on even more pressure. Love family though, with a bit of retaliation. Mars, and he's got the showstopper. So if... yeah, there goes the showstopper. He's ready for the kill. It's going to be a double. Really good stuff. That owl drone from right to ace was the moment. I mean, the information it garnered really helped. And Marzel, he just went all in. He knew this was going to be big, and it certainly was. Not only was it a big play, but it was a big explosion right there, costing the members of Fullsense big time and helping Velocity get another round on board. So from the looks of it, it's going to be a 4-5, and Velocity yet again, they're looking to make the comeback. However, OG yet again, kind of similar to what happened on Icebox. Fullsense, they just started winning more and more rounds, and there just wasn't much Velocity could do. You know, Fullsense won like 8 rounds consecutively. Back then the score was 5-3. It led to a 13-3. Right now it may be 5-4, but we know Fullsense can certainly get more and more rounds on board. So Velocity on this defense, they've still got to keep their hopes high. They still have to try and get a 6-6 at the very least. It's a big ask, however, it's something that they have to achieve, as Marzel finishes off the round with a total of 3 kills.
They're 1 round away from the equalizer though. VLT, the important thing now is to keep the momentum going. Deathmaker, we mentioned on how this operator is going to be an integral part to their success on this defense. And Marzel coming alive at the right moment of asking. That showstopper might as well be the showstopper for Fullsense in the first half. At least that's what VLT are going to hope. This setup towards B long. VLT might look to play this one just a teeny bit more aggressive. That recon, I'm not sure if it gives away the play. It is to some level transparent, and there is going to be one eye, and that's Shalalala for now. He enters the astral form though. Wait, did he spot the shoulder? I think he just might have. Chala expecting the peek, and Deathmaker not able to land that quick shot. Oh my goodness. That tap was right in the nick of time, and Deathmaker It's like he has X-ray vision at this point. This man can see through walls. And this man can see through your smoke balls. They have committed the rotation, but Deathmaker is a little bit away. He commits the rotation through CT and not through hookah because he has that operator. So close quarters is not where he'd like to take it. That means everybody from VLT is going to be on the front lines. There's not going to be any ace up their sleeve.
True. And velocity, yeah, like you just mentioned, everyone pushing in from the side of the defender spawn, and the cosmic divide as well, prohibiting them from seeing a lot. Great cosmic divide. I think everyone on Fullsense is aware of that, and they're also aware of velocity. I mean, they're still holding these angles, they're still watching for it, and now the rolling thunder alongside the recon bolt and the hunter's fury maybe helping velocity, and they get a double in a matter of seconds. Marzel also peeking on John Olsen's there. He's got his own fault line to work out. Love family, he spots one, he's looking for another. That's one kill. John Olsen with one more. Right to Ace is there. It's gonna be initiator versus initiator. Ace is sticking it. He's sticking it. He gets the kill, but just doesn't have enough time. That's going to be another round for the side of Fullsense. They played it brilliantly. That cosmic divide, I think, was the tipping point that allowed Fullsense so much time to be wasted and such great positions to be held, that even with the Hunter's Fury, even with the Rolling Thunder, even with everyone on the side of Velocity pushing through, Fullsense still withstood the pressure. They still withheld themselves right there, stuck to the ground, and there was nothing that Velocity members could do about that.
Yeah, and I feel like VLT also made the right call there, right? They did not anticipate Hellfighter going down without a fight. Cool. Deathmaker got that crucial kill onto Onliner, which he inevitably had to go into the TP. There was no other way he'd be alive in that kind of situation. Circumstance yet again proves to be the undoer of good times for VLT. Deathmaker gonna be forced on this aggressive stance, which he might not be comfortable pulling off, although he makes it look easy and effortless. Hellfighter covering his teammates back. They're gonna play on the back of their positions and fold on what they have. But Love Fam, there to remove that power of family. He's waiting and biding his time for his ultimate to finally spread its wings, and he is flying, soar high in the sky, as he just waveforms his way through the set. What? Oh god! I was assuming
that was
two Viper
unfortunate.
ults, that would be too overwhelming. It's only right to Ace left though. Did he land that tag? He was very close to doing so.
No utility.
And Lafam, he instantly retracts his Viper's pit, throws out
He's
the Venom,
feeling
and
the
that
snake bite.
sends right to Ace
Yeah,
all
that's it.
the way back. A 7th round on the board for Fullsense. This is getting dangerous now for VLT in the first half.
Absolutely true. Like I said, that, you know, Fullsense,
round
if
is
they
the
can win
half.
8 rounds consecutively, bring it from a 5-3 to 13-3, they can certainly get like a couple more rounds on board and end the half 8-4. I'm still not discrediting Velocity right now. I still think they have it in them in this round to perhaps get that final round on board. However, the economy isn't looking the best. You know, Deathmaker, he'll be going for a Bulldog. He's got full armor. Marzel's there with the Judge. So, I mean, I'm not going to speak against it. Marzel always gets these kills. He's playing the same angle. He may be peeking at always this aggressive angle. Usually, Raze mains, they play from behind the box. But Marzel, he wants something different. He wants to be upfront, personal, in the face of the attackers, as right now, Deathmaker, he's looking to pop off those faces right off their bodies. There's the anti-entrenchment utility. Onliner peeking through Marzel's right there. Beautiful right click on the head. Insane stuff. You still have 2 more Velocity members on the B bomb side. And I think Fullsense, they may just opt for a fake. Yeah, right to Ace has been spotted. Right there, there's Deathmaker below. Is he going to get checked? Deathmaker all onto his shoulders, but I don't think Fullsense are looking to push through.
Oh, Onliner, it's pure utility that takes him down. He started off the round in magnificent fashion, but ends up being the martyr. Fullsense, they understand what kind of a setup VLT are attempting. This is essentially the initiator being right to Ace, potentially trying to buy a little bit of information and a little bit of bait. The Deathmaker could be set up from under hookah.
30 seconds left.
The setup towards B though is pretty transparent, and there needs to be the rotation committed. VLT need to commit this extremely hard hold. Deathmaker though has been overlooked.
No!
Is that The
That was a
round,
flash, I think. Yeah.
Spike planted.
the flash was
May just be.
perfect, cool, but the play was set up so brilliantly.
Mm-hmm.
It's gut wrenching to see that not yield results.
remaining.
Inshallah. Rejoiceful in the name, surely rejoicing in the game, because they're having a flyer. 8-4.
Switching sides.
A very good half by the side of Fullsense. They're looking strong.
Absolutely, they are. I mean, for the side of Fullsense, it's really looking like they want to, just back away Velocity's bag and throw them out of this tournament entirely. Velocity, for the side of Fullsense, they want them to bid farewell and any opposition they face later down the road as well. We'll have our second lower bracket matchup where this is the semi-finals after all. So even with that being said and done, Fullsense are looking far too stronger. And if any and all members of Enigma Gaming or Enigma Galaxy are watching this, their potential opponents, they've got to be scared with how Fullsense are playing right now. Like I said, that being down, like being up 5-4 to now an 8-4, Fullsense, they just need momentum, and it's more about the psychological plays as well, not just the actual plays. However, the actual plays are always far more fun to witness. So let's have a look at the highlights and let's see, starting through round 1 as well, as to how exactly the first half was shaping up to be. And like I said, early down the road, Velocity, they had the potential, they were winning the rounds. This was a great pistol round as well. I really liked Velocity's retaking the pistol. The bait play from the side of Marzel, allowing Right Twist to get the headshot from Classic, that was very smart. But after this, Fullsense also started retaliating back to an extent, and this thrifty win, I mean, this really costed Velocity so much. This round should not have gone the way of FS, but guess what? It still did.
Yeah, and that essentially was Fullsense bringing in the shredder. That was gut wrenching, and this game, I think, was as brutally gut wrenching as that round, right? With the way Fullsense are playing, it's so much to do about positioning. It's so much to do about setup. They're not phased by losing a member or two. In fact, they're more than happy to. They're going to play on the back of another advantage, which is positioning and mind games. A lot of the times, PLT getting caught off in the back like this kind of situation, they were able to translate these rounds. There also is this phenomenal 1 versus 2 that gets pulled off after Deathmaker gets this frag from the top to the bottom. It looks like Chalala had full control of the situation, had that star as well, so Deathmaker knows that he needs to commit that fight. There's no way he can bait that out. Overall, I feel like Fullsense just had the better textbook here, full stop.
Feels to me, again, on the side, just like on the map of Icebox, once Fullsense figured out what Velocity were doing, which was towards the tail end of the first half, they could just counteract that at all. So for Velocity, their best shot of winning is as soon as the half begins, or as soon as the side swap begins. That's when Velocity can build that momentum. That's when they can build potentially a bit of the lead as well, because right now here they were playing catch up, and they were pretty close to tagging Fullsense and, equalizing the round count. But after this 4-5 and after Fullsense started winning this 2v3 clutch as well, it was major in the hopes and in the dreams of FS taking the win, which in this half at the very least they absolutely have. Having a round advantage of 4 heading into the second half means that there's so much of a buffer period that the members of Fullsense have on their defense that they can absolutely wait, and they can test the waters, they can tread the waters lightly as well, seeing what Velocity are doing, and then counteracting that once they're ready to essentially, bring out the big guns, just like they did on the first half. So keeping all of that in mind, for Velocity, it's still not an easy journey. Can they do it? Bind, I mean, I'm not going to lie, the pistol in the anti-eco, so much depends on that. Already we will be, having a look at the player cams as well, and very soon we'll be jumping into the game. And at the moment, so much of it is dependent on this pistol, so much of it is dependent on that anti-eco, because those 2 rounds, they can help either one of these teams significantly. So many times it happens in these 8-4 scorelines that if the team with 8 rounds gets double digits already, it's just Mount Everest climb for the members of Velocity. I'm not saying it's difficult, but I'm not saying it's going to be easy or it's impossible, but like the odds that they'll be stacked up against, it's just far too high.
Yeah, it would feel like climbing up a mountain, right? You can do it, doesn't mean you'd want to do it. But in this case, everything to fight for. VLT, they've essentially made up their mind after getting put down in the lower bracket that this is going to be a journey that is going to last a while. The one advantage that I'd still give the side of VLT is they have a lot of flush utility. In a map like Bind, where there are kind of cubby corners and close corners, the flush utility comes to good use. The only question is it gonna be put to good use? That's what makes any kind of difference on the server. Amitharatsu,
Oh, unfortunate.
that was so unfortunate. He had the right idea, knew the play, still wasn't able to translate that kill. Just oh my god. I thought the trade's gonna come in from Marzel, but Lammy Stacks is an absolute Chad.
Now the flank is happening as well, and I think we all have to keep this flank in mind from Showers, because the members of Velocity, well, where exactly are they gonna go? Shala with the shorty, he's got to play extreme close quarter, but Right to Ace is going into his crosshairs. However, Right to Ace still, he gets the kill, and now it's a double hole. One from Showers, one from Heaven. Health, so many angles to check. And any way to clear him out? Well, he may have spotted one. It's going to be Right to Ace getting another. And now it's going to be Onliner pushing through Showers. His location is known. He's got to peek these angles. Health. Oh, he will land his shots. And Velocity, they do take the pistol on the attack. So great stuff right here from the members of Velocity. Now they cannot afford to lose the anti-icon like the previous half. And now I don't think Velocity will be losing. Because in my eyes, I think they have enough capabilities and they know better than what they did in the previous pistol phase. You know, they've got to know the fact that this is the anti-eco, play smartly, wait for the members of Fullsense and just try to get into their crosshairs, and then we'll kill them because we have the Ares, because we have the Spectre. All Fullsense are bringing is that one Marshal, which can be deadly, but only one member has it.
Amaterasu, he's going to be disposing of that Poison Orb into shards. Now, this, into its lamps. Now, what this essentially does is the DK deters people on the push. When you don't have armor, the DK hits you like a darn truck. The commitment towards the side. Lafam is able to find the drop on Amaterasu. John finds the double! The classic finds its light in the dark as it puts a shed of mistrust on the side of VLT. They are not sure if this is going to be a booby trap as well. Oh, the head spotted. Onliner. He's trying to isolate this play. He does not have the updraft, so getting on top of the default box is out of the question. Does have the tailwind, but he'd rather use it defensively. And Hellfighter is smart to avoid that angle for now. As he's honed in on it. Right to Ace. Harder on the punish. John
30 seconds left.
gotten the opening 2 kills. He needs to end this a quad. He needs to pull off the thrifty, but Right to Ace is keen on keeping the sheet clean for the second half in VLT's favor. He deals with the Marshal and negates any more threat. That, however, was way too much sweat for it just being pistols, CCB.
Yeah, the angles being maintained by the members of Fullsense since once they started retaliating back. I mean, look at these kills from John Olsen. That was insane right there where he got that. But then Right to Ace from Shower's power position, and this is where, like, once you get rid of so much of the manpower, it's just like 2 versus 2 or 1 versus 1, then you really see the gun disparity in major action more than ever when it is long range duels. But now the members of Fullsense, they've invested everything into this round. They're playing for the win right here. They want to get their 9th on the board, because if they don't, Velocity will well be on their way to equalize the score and to make it an 8-8. Onliner now with the Vandal all alone, half armor. It's a risky move. However, if he can land his headshots, I don't think risk will be a bigger factor for him. I think it'll be the side of Velocity dealing with desperation after losing one of their members. As of now, though, none of that has happened. Onliner has chosen to fall back. Marzel is now going to be taking up a lot of the market share and a lot of the footfall towards Showers as well, contributing to that. as he pushes through. The owl drone spots the location of the jet. It's going to be a full-on execute from the members of Velocity quite early. And Marzel pushing through the toxic screen. No. Velocity, they just did not have enough information. And now they're getting just absolutely shredded out. 3 different members, 3 different kills, but all the same result. It has been Fullsense getting those frags right to ace. Yet again, the Bulldog works for him. Health is also there in showers, waiting patiently either for the time to strike or either for someone to fall prey into his crosshairs and to die. Beautiful shock dart. Tags onliner just the tiniest bit more. He's waiting. Look at the open angle he's holding. And he's still going to be holding it. Right to ace, another kill. He can take this. The Trailblazer spots Hellfighter towards showers as well. And now onliner can get... No! Right to ace with another onliner through the smoke. He dies. And before you know it, Fullsense, what seemed to be their round, can turn into the favors of Velocity. The spike is going to go down. Lammy Snacks, he's going to be peeking from short. Right to ace, watching U-Hauls as Health misses his shots. It's going to be vital. Right to clutch is his name. He's got to do it. He's already gotten 3 kills. Well on his way for an ace. The guiding light goes through. He has been flashed. He has been stunned. He has been concussed. Absolutely cornered off. And it's going to be Lammy Snacks with the kill. Very hard fought round. Extremely difficult to overcome. However, it's one man. He was a big thorn in the side of Fullsense. However, they have removed him now.
BLT played that 2 versus 2 as well as they could have. Positioning wasn't really their friend, and they need to make do of the back of a hard call. They needed that backside plant to make sure that with the other man on gun duty, there's far less angles for him to cover. Otherwise, you leave yourself way too exposed. And that could have been the curveball that won them that round. Fullsense close to hitting double digits on the back of a dominant map 1. They're looking to send VLT back in the Astral Well. Oh, he gets the dink. Essentially eliminating the armor that was existent on Deathmaker. Now it's down to 8. Onliner with this judge plays, dude. It can be so impactful, both towards hookah and lamps. He's not going to be set up fully though. This owl drone should give away the play. Does not have the tailwind, has the updraft. If he wants to dodge the paint shells, he walks into the spam though. A crucial pickoff. An opening. Some semblance of hope. Because VLT have themselves a small investment. They have a couple of Vandals. Lammy Snacks though, this is the pseudo-duelist guy that we might get to see. Does not have a secondary flash to reinitiate that peak. After that recon, he needed to fall back. Hunter's Fury calling upon him. Lammy Snacks, he's able to play skip rope, and John is able to provide. He's able to deliver full Lammy Snacks. A tap. And a slap to that B push. Perfect use of utility. Right to ace was trying his very best. But there's only so much Hunter's Fury can do to zone out what lies ahead of you. As they were trying to get Lammy Snacks, a perfectly timed peek from John nets him all the kills at hookah and essentially shuts half that B rush down.
Ahead.
At this point, I mean, Velocity, they're really on the back foot. You know, the buy, the economy isn't looking the best on their side as well. This is, I think, the final full buy they can afford with rifles full armor. After this, they will have to eco. And the problem lies right there, OG, is that if Velocity lose this round, that's going to be the 11th for the side of Fullsense. And now with the eco, may as well be best of 3-point, match point as well. So Fullsense have really got to, you know, win this round. And already for that very reason, I think we can expect plenty of ultimates. We are already seeing Onliner go through with the Blade Storm. He's got it ready on the A-bomb side. However, that is not where Velocity are looking to attack. The Astral Star goes right there behind the generator. Lammy Snacks as well, just shoulder peeking long, trying to spot someone, and Deathmaker may be the first person he'll spot. Rolling Thunder from John Olsen also present, as you correctly mentioned that. Fullsense are ready for this execute. The Trailblazer also from Lammy Snacks gets info that Jet is still there. Oh, Velocity, are they looking to bottleneck through Hook'em? It's going to be lethal. The aftershock, the flashes of John Olsen all of that can just prohibit the attackers from pushing through. However, they're still going to go for it. We are seeing the plays happen. The Novas goes through. Lammy Snacks gets one. Marzel with the trade. The Rolling Thunder concusses so many members. John Olsen is there. Elf has also got to push through, but yet again, Velocity, this execute, it's been halted, and they only have 20 seconds.
It's set up Chalala though, whose position gets revealed. Right to Ace and Amaterasu finding a kill each, which gives them the sight and the man advantage. Fullsense, they look to be controlled all this round and control Faden as Hellfighter.
Too close, but close enough, eh?
His aim shaking. That's more than enough though, as it's another round for the taking. VLT. They played that mid-round so perfectly, even after so much utility to halt them. They get the information, they're able to commit at the nick of time, and it was all down to winning the duels. They didn't have time to lose. All they had to do was win, no matter what.
Now, Velocity, they certainly have stepped into the building. So, keeping that in mind, Fullsense. I mean, first of all, I didn't understand that second shot from Hell. Through 2 smokes, he got a perfect headshot. I mean, obviously it was spam fire, but very lucky shot right there. Now Shala is present. He tags Marcel just a bit, takes away his armor, but in doing so, he gets his own taken away. An onliner through the teleporter. Great kill. And without health being there, it all falls down to the Viper to help with these executions. And now the Viper has to put in the work. The showstopper from Marzel's there. He's in the gravity well. Onliner's right behind him. Is Marzel going to fire through? Deathmaker with one. Marzel fires it in the wrong corner and loses his life. He wasn't really aware where Onliner was, but he knew that. And now it's going to be a rotate play from the members of Velocity. However, they still have to pick up the spike on Link. And that is going to take up a lot of time because this allows Fullsense to equally divide themselves. 2 on B, 2 on A, and just hold the bomb site. Now it's going to be 3 on A. They are predicting VLT's strategy. And if they can somehow eliminate Amaterasu and not allow the Viper split to go through, this round should be going to Fullsense.
Yeah, the Judge is a pretty potent weapon. Especially on the hands of a Viper. That vulnerability gives it so much added bonus, which quite frankly is criminal. Chalala's traded out weapons. Considering he's the low HP, he could afford to run the Judge and still be lethal about it. While LoveFam takes advantage of the Vandal and tries to spam him through that smoke. Deathmaker, he finds that kill in return. The Vandal Tracifier being a dead giveaway. They're playing with utter stealth. Silence to some could be deafening, and this round, it's threatening the lead that's attained by Fullsense. Deathmaker trying his very best, but with him on 2 HP, a lot of this has to do with Amaterasu and clutching it out for VLT. Chalala, the savior of Fullsense, again puts them on good paths and on the path to victory. Away from that, they shall not tread. They are 2 rounds away from sending VLT out of the Zotac Cup, ladies and gentlemen. Fullsense are now finding full form.
Certainly are, and you know, Velocity, they're struggling. I mean, this round as well. The previous round, it was a great effort. You know, right to his positioning was good. Unfortunately, he got killed by a backstab, I presume. Even Amaterasu, the work he was putting as the Viper, the 1 versus 3, again, Vipers can be deadly. I think in Zotac Cup, we've seen plenty of these Viper spit aces from the specific Vipers themselves that are initiating those. But regardless, in this case, it wasn't an ace, rather it may just be match point for Fullsense now because Velocity's buy is not looking strong. A lot of the hopes rely on one man. That's going to be Deathmaker pushing through with the Blade Storm. He has been spotted by Lammy Snacks. Lammy's there, blinding light, fault line. Oh, this peak can be lethal. However, Hellfighter, he equalizes the score. And now John Olsen, beautiful double headshot. That's going to be a 3rd. This breach cannot be stopped. He's right there with the flash. He's sitting, and you've got, you know, Love family towards Hookah as well. Velocity, they're going into the Lion's Den right now, pushing through the smoke. They'll be putting their lives in imminent danger, but they still have to commit to it. There is no other alternative. There, right to his beautiful kill onto John Olsen puts an end to his wrath. However, Love family and his Viper Spit are still present, and now the rotations are also happening.
I think he's expected as well. The spam's coming on through from right to Ace.
Look at Love Family.
both-
Oh, he can be peeking.
Yeah, they're both gonna play this one from inside the tube. Though another Viper Spit. You
30
just
seconds.
talk about this and it happens, my
Spike
friend.
planted.
Hellfighter.
One enemy.
Oh god, the judge. This weapon is menacing. Right to ace. He tried to play that one smart there. He tried to play that one to timing and angles. But against the judge inside a Viper Spit, there's barely anything you can do. The Viper Spit forces you to go CQC. You don't have the benefit of range. It's essentially
I should probably play
having the
some
best
standard
gun
astral
and
plane.
pulling you in
Should-do.
the best possible range. You're at all the disadvantages there, my friend. Full sense, map, match, point on their cusp. 5 round CCV. Do you think that's even doable for VLT?
I mean, this round itself, if Velocity win this, I mean, there's no point talking about the economy. However, I'm going to point out their buy. It's a weak one from VLT. Ares, Spectres, okay, yeah, sure, Ares may be in the meta, but against Vandals, especially a tier 1 Valorant, really can get punished for it pretty darn easily, especially looking at online and the angle he's holding. Amaterasu with the Spectre, he may choose to peek this angle whenever he wants. Deathmaker's there, it's going to be a double peek. Now, which way is Onliner going to swing? Which way is he going to flick? Everything depends on this one jet. How many kills can he get? Can he tailwind back? That is the main question. Now, we just wait and we watch. Deathmaker's right there. There go the smokes, the owl drone, and he immediately tailwinds away. He doesn't want to go for kills. He wants to play passively. Smart decision. And now the Rolling Thunder yet again concusses so many members of Velocity. Look at Onliner pushing through. Where is he? We can't see anything. What exactly is going on? He's in a shot. Has he spotted other members? This can be lethal. Velocity are not aware of this at all. They're waiting for the nebulas to dissipate. He can do so much damage right now. He spots one. Great shot. And he gets traded out. They were aware about him.
They didn't have... I mean, if a little bit of trigger discipline was there, could have gotten to the blinding lights. Trying to shut down utility, down lamps. There's still going to be a successful hold for VLT momentarily. Right to ace. He's going to be choked alongside the rest of the team with this astral divide. They're trying to push the lines together though. And right to ace. Gets spray transfer upon Chalala. He's been the savior. But right now, he's not going to be able to give full sense the closure. VLT fight back. 12-8. 4 rounds in consecutive fashion is what they require to pull us to an overtime and then maybe pull us to a map 3. But they committed ultimates and they committed a boatload to secure the round prior, where now they only have that Hunter's Fury on right to ace. What's their game plan here? What did they change to make sure that they're able to be in it to win it?
Kills, perhaps. I mean, there's a 3-man stack on Velocity on B, and that's exactly where Fullsense are pushing through. The owl drone may spot a couple of the members, and now the members of Fullsense said they have to hold this push off. Velocity, oh, Lamy snags in the gravity well. He was firing through, unfortunate, and now Velocity can really push. Look at those kills from Marzel and Deathmaker, and an instant on the B bomb side. There's a massacre that just took place, leaving Onliner and John Olsen the only 2 survivors. And now one is right here on defender spawn, one is pushing through. I'd argue Onliner to save his gun, but I think he wants to deal economic damage to the VLT members. So does John Olsen. That's why he'll be getting 1 kill. Can he pick up that gun that Marzel had? Can he take the Vandal as Onliner? He's looking to take even more lives. He's got all the utility in the world to support him. Now he just needs angles. Now he just needs kills. There's another. Very soon it may work right to ace though. He's not going to let them. He's not going to let the members of Full Sense. He's like, I mean, he is going to defend his squad. And Amaterasu, he's back right now. He's fully swinging. Velocity, sure enough, they are cutting down the lead that Full Sense have. But there is still a long road to get through. And that's the problem right there for Velocity. There is no second chance. You have to keep on winning and winning these rounds. Meanwhile, for Full Sense, they can attempt something like an eco and then push through, which they may just if they lose this round. So if Full Sense lose this round, it's going to be round 24 where everything gets decided. It's going to be either 12-12 or 13-11. But a lot depending on this one.
Arsenal is 1 point away from the showstopper. In the first half, a couple of influential rounds were influenced by his decision making. One of them being his use of the showstopper. We might need to see that again if VLT needs to stay relevant in this best of 3. The jump spot from Lammy spots out all the information that he wants. At this point, it's just what more. There is that nebula right around the corner, which could be, used by that star. So there is cover if needed. The Hunter's Fury expelled though, and they do get the tag. They are not going to be able to confirm that frag on Liner. He's going to be playing aggressively through A short, which means right to ace is left at a vulnerable position. The spike. Oh my goodness, this is bombastic stuff on Liner. Right to ace, trigger discipline.
This
I
time
love
it's gonna
this.
be there.
Clip it, ladies and gentlemen. This is how you win an influential round. Make it think like it's an accident that you drop there, whereas it's trigger discipline. As Onliner repositions, he anticipates the rotation of Hellfighter, but it's not able to land the frag. The whiff of the blades, as he knows he's lost that window of opportunity. He falls back to wherever he came from to maintain that man advantage. Because right now, VLT are on hot pursuit towards the A side.
They are, and they don't have a lot of time now. Fullsense, let's have a look at their push. Oh, Liner, this could have been big. Now the pain shells right on his body, and he's got to fall back. However, the members of Fullsense, look at where the rotations are happening. So many of them from defender spawn only, with the exception of Onliner. He has to bait himself. There's no other way. He has to make a lot of noise, or he can get into close quarter combat. He can go into close quarter combat. He's gonna push through.
Nice try.
Oh, that was a nice try. He gets a lot of information though. He spots both members of Velocity are right there. That's going to be kills. And now with the showstopper being gone, everything on this one man. There goes the Nebula. The gravity well is through as well. It's going to prevent Fullsense from trying to defuse the spike. He's right there. He's gonna be peeking. Lammy Snacks is aware. And that is that. Done and dusted, ladies and gentlemen. Fullsense make Velocity exit out of the Zotac Cup, and they themselves will be moving on forward to the lower bracket finals. Great win for them, 2-0, and their faces are relieved. I wouldn't say very, very happy right now, but they are more so relieved that they got through this quite early, because had we gone through a third map, Velocity were looking far more dangerous than they were early on in this BO3.
Oof. VLT were slowly starting to heat up in the dying segment of that second half. If only a couple of more crucial rounds in the first. Marzel's showstopper could have been what put an end to that retake. They were grouped together near that spike. Marzel almost pulled his trigger. But yeah, this was just Fullsense in a sixth sense. For some reason, it took Fullsense far more sweat on their map to take down VLT than it took for them to beat VLT on their own, on VLT's pick.
Yeah. Not really sure. I mean, it just could be a difference of the playstyle as well. The two compositions are far more different. You know, on the map of Icebox, we were seeing a lot of Sage and stuff. We were seeing like Sentinels. This time there were no Sentinels on board. This was no holds barred whatsoever. You've got to push in through. You've got Initiators. You've got Duelists. You've got Astra Viper to hold down the bomb side. And as good as they are, if you can be a smoke criminal, if you can push through those smokes, like there was that one round from Onliner where he went through 1, 2, 3, a toxic screen, 3 smokes, and then ended up on A shop. It felt like just watching one of those movies where you don't really know what's going on with the character. They're just moving through somewhere, and before you know it, he ended up right there. He got a good kill. Could have done more, but again, all of that is in the past. We'll have a look at the kills as well in a couple of seconds, but right now, talking about the game, it was all great stuff. And the kills, I mean, you know what, let's bring up the highlights itself. I really want to have a look at them, because this was a far more contested game. It led to far better like kill streaks and just wins for either one of the teams, both from Velocity and Fullsense, and all 10 of the members put their fair share of work in, whether it be with frags, clutches, utility usage, or just overall presence on the map.
Yeah, they looked to at least have more of a voice here in Bind. Got to see VLT also feel a little more comfortable, right? We got to see a nice showstopper from Marcel. We got to see Amaterasu feel his senses. It's at least a VLT that did not bow out of a fight. They fought until the very end, and they put up a decent fight at Bind. Sure, Icebox wasn't their game. It wasn't their day in that map. It happens, man. And Bind, it came dangerously close. Fullsense, they managed to make the right calls at the perfect place. They played for position and not for the numbers. It enabled them to get far more impact out of the few frags that they did get, which netted them crucial rounds, where it was VLT playing the numbers but falling prey to things like this backstab coming in from snacks. You know, the position really aids when you're making a play that's as big as this. And of course, with this 1 versus 2, Shalalala was more than set up with the amount of utility he had on the spike. VLT, a day that could have been far better, but I think they've learned quite a bit throughout their journey in the Zotac Cup.
Totally have. Yeah, every single time, we see South Asian teams up against Southeast Asian teams, there's always a learning curve for both of the rosters and both of the regions to go through as well. Irrespective of who wins, who loses, there are things you can take from the matchup once you're reviewing them. And even while you're in the matchup as well, live counter starting and stuff. All of that can help your roster further down the road if this is a regular, which I really hope it is. So far here, the Esports Club, we've had plenty of South Asian versus Southeast Asian tournaments, this being no different than the previous ones as well, where the best of both the regions are facing off against each other. And as of now, Fullsense, they are shaping up to be a giant. However, can they get into the grand finale? After, the lower bracket finals as well, they'll have the match. And keeping that in mind, they're going to be facing off so many more teams. It's not like their journey has come to an end anytime soon. They'll be facing off against the winners of Enigma Gaming up against Enigma Galaxy as well. And with that being said and done, Fullsense know that this is not the end of the road. They are still towards the middle stage. If they want to close out this entire tournament, take a huge chunk out of that $15,000 prize pool that has been provided by all our lovely sponsors for the teams participating and for the teams winning as well. So at the moment, as soon as the second half happened, with the anti-ecos as well, Fullsense were looking strong. And once more, even though Velocity, after winning this pistol, in this case, they barely managed to win the anti-eco, thanks to Right to Ace and his Bulldog. Had that not happened, and it would have been another Fullsense win. And Velocity still, they got 3 casualties on board, which forced Fullsense into great rounds altogether. And from that point forward, the lead was surely built by the side of FS. And there was nothing that VLT could have done in these earlier rounds to try and deny that, essentially.
Yeah, VLT. This round was, another miraculous play by Hellfighter. So many of these rounds were back on miracle performances, right? Amaterasu's Prey Transfer, Marisol's Showstopper, Hellfighter's Intuition. Rightways had a very good game. He led a lot of what needed to happen in the server. And this is one of the few games that you saw Deathmaker being completely shut down, right? In fact, he's sitting on 11 frags at the end of the entire ordeal. Not the performance that we're accustomed to see from Deathmaker, but hey, you might be cracked out of your mind, but we're all human, and it's fine to be human.
This final round as well. Like I said, Onliner might have died, but the visual information he got, that 2 out of the 3 members are right here, allowed Lambing Snacks' beautiful spray transfer up close and personal, and then the final onto health. And that was everything done and dusted. So far, a great initial round from the members of Fullsense. There was a lot of retaliation from Velocity. They were firing back constantly throughout the map of Bind, which is something I really like, considering that Icebox was really not that way. The fact that Velocity had so much more to give, had so much more to retaliate with and fire back at their opposition, that it helped them secure more of those rounds. And I think in a way it helped them get that confidence as well. Time and time again, they were winning rounds instead of entirely being shut down and outed, like was the case on Icebox, where it was a 13-3 score at the end of the day. So good things for the side of VLT as well. But I'm not going to lie, the performances we witnessed so far, it was just great stuff. The MVP plays, and like you said, from online as well, those were 2 rounds where him, along with his Blade Storm, just first the trigger discipline on towards Link, getting rid of Right to Ace, dropping the spike, and then there was the play on towards A Shot as well, which wasn't as successful, but it still was really, really helpful for his squad.
Yeah, for sure, man. And I'm itching to see who the match MVP is going to be, because
True.
the match MVP yet to be, and we have the entire series MVP, right? With the way
Right.
played map one. I'm not really sure if we're gonna get to see him again on the MVP screen. I think Onliner has thoroughly deserved an MVP.
Yeah.
Considering his performance now, considering his performance on map one, it doesn't seem like there's been any drop off. He's been a very explosive member for the side of Fullsense, always in a position where he can pull off miraculous plays. I think that's going to be very hard.
Mm-hmm.
Let's quickly visit the scoreboard as well, so that we'll have a good understanding of how this map did end up in the favor of Fullsense. This was way closer than map one, like we discussed, and PTC 19 frags with a boatload of them being the flashy ones. It's still the right ways who tops the server in terms of the amount of kills. Sadly, his team wasn't able to follow up on the back of it. Like I said, VLT, they play the trade game, they play the numbers, but full sense, this trade the position and they play on the back of a trump card on most of the post plan situations.
That is true, and even for the side of velocity as well, seeing Marzel and Deathmaker. I mean, I'm not saying these are bad kills. Like 16 kills, 11 kills, that's a good score. But when you're playing a double duelist, and it's mainly a Sova and even the Viper to an extent with Amaterasu having 18 of them, those are the people getting the majority of the frags. Those are the people, putting a lot of pressure on themselves. I would say that, yeah, a little bit more was expected from the side of Raze and Jet. It wasn't absolutely disappointing, no. It's still a good performance, but still not MVP worthy. Having a look at the series MVP as well, and overall who the best performer was, it was gonna be PTC. It is gonna be Onliner, like you said, 35 kills, 267 average combat score, 166 average damage per round, and then he got 9 rounds where he was the person getting the initial frag. I mean, just overall great performance. Yeah, he was just popping off time after time after time. And not every single round was his, but the ones that were his absolutely grabbed our attention from start to finish.
Point of a team game, right? You don't need to be the duelist for every single round. There are guns on even the sentinels. There are guns even on the controllers. And you have teammates equally parred on your skill level. So it's all about coming alive when it's required. When you're being set up for it, when it's absolutely influential, that's when you see him on his blade strom. That's when you see him just popping heads. I was really loving the form that at least aim-wise VLT had in Icebox. Here, it feels like they were getting outdueled far more often.
Yeah. But right now, talking about Icebox, talking about Bind as well. Let's have a look at the map recap. Let's see the scores on the two maps, and let's see what could have been the third as well. The map that we didn't go to, it could have been Haven. But so far on the recap, yeah, a very contrasting two scores, but similar teams and similar results at the end of the day. After all, Icebox, it was the choice of velocity. They got beaten pretty badly right there. 13-3 was the score. Really, ever since the members of Fullsense got on their winning spree, there was no stopping them. There was no halting them whatsoever. On Bind, it was more of a stop and go, where every couple of rounds, Fullsense, they started winning, then velocity started popping off, and back and forth they win. However, the 4-round lead that Fullsense had right at the start of the second half, the 8-4, in my eyes, that 4-round lead was still maintained. 13-9 was the final score, and that buffer period allowed the members of FS to take the win. Haven will not be seen, and Velocity, unfortunate for them and for all their fans, will not be seen in this tournament. Since having a look over at the brackets, this was the lower bracket matchup, and Velocity losing this, it's a big blow to them. Now we have our next match of today as well, OG, right in front of our screens, right below the match we just witnessed. It is Enigma Gaming up against Nigma Galaxy, and the winners of that will be facing off against Fullsense. So the members of FS right now, they can sit back, they can relax in the time they have, a couple of hours before the next BO3 starts, and then they can study their opponents through and through, regardless of who the opponents are going to be, Enigma or Nigma.
Nice play on words there. I thought I was the only one. But CCV, it's been a fun best of three. It's been a short best of three, I might add. With this 2-0, Fullsense have made a statement in the lower bracket and a statement of intent as well, that they're here to see this one through. They want to continue their lower bracket run. And let's quickly head to our MVP as well, because it's going to create some sort of a change, right? With this kind of a one-sided matchup, there is bound to be Deathmaker, who is now down on third position. Sadly, with his exit and his team's exit in the Zotac Cup, he will not be able to improve what's left of his stats. Raw Fuel lies ahead of him, as we will get to see the Enigma matchup later on today, like you alluded to, CCV. So for
Yep.
anybody who is not yet subscribed or not yet, in with this, you can just do one simple thing: hit that bell notification. You'll know whenever we go live. This evening matchup, yeah, it's gonna keep the entertainment pumping through Jan, my friend.
Oh, absolutely. The MVP of the entire Zotac Cup right now, Zesbu up against the second best MVP at the moment, Raw Fuel. I am extremely excited for it. Not only that, but the rosters as well facing off against each other, the maps, the histories. There is just so much more to talk about that following matchup. You've got the side of Enigma Gaming pushed down in the lower brackets. You've got the side of Enigma Galaxy as well, who were already pushed down in the lower brackets. However, they still caved their way through. They have reached the second round of the lower brackets. They are in the semi-finals, so they will still be fighting their way. But there is still so much to fight for both of these rosters, and for both Enigma and Enigma Galaxy. So much more to play for, and it's going to be an extremely difficult journey. But right now, for the journey of Velocity Gaming, it does come to a close. Really unfortunate. However, they had an amazing run. The qualifiers, it was a breeze for them, getting into the main playoffs as well, defeating their South Asian quadrants, and then moving on forward. They lost to Action PH Shaw, they lost right now to Fullsense as well, but regardless, they gave an extremely enjoyable performance, and I hope everyone who tuned into the stream was enjoyed by all the action we witnessed. And if you want to keep the enjoyment going, make sure you go down below in the description, get yourselves a couple of powerful top of the line graphics cards from Nvidia, or some portable SSDs as well for people on the go, always transferring files at the highest speed and moving at the highest speed as well. If you want to monitor, to make sure you enjoy these matches in 1440p Ultra HD, you've got 144 Hz for your games as well. LG Ultragear has you sorted. And for the rest of your setup, for your mice, for your headphones, for your keyboard, Corsair is always there. And for your daily entertainment, you've got the Esports Club OG already highlighted. Our next match will surely be starting in just over an hour. It's going to be Enigma Gaming up against Enigma Galaxy. But for now, as for this stream, as for Velocity up against Fullsense, this stream comes to a close. Thank you everyone for watching. We'll see you later. So tune in. But for now, bye-bye. Take care.
Bye.